right, John. This is the next to the last podcast. Next to the last podcast
ever
on the left. No, in 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yep, phasing out the podcast. That's what's happening now. I crunched all the numbers.
I need to clarify. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Didn't want people to be like, what?
Right.
And then you get a bunch of emails about it, and you're like, no, just for the end of the year.
Yeah. No, I crunched all the numbers. It's not feasible anymore for you and me to sit here and talk. It's finally. No,
I'm joking.
Your demanding writer about just blue M&Ms is driving me bankrupt. I got to hire all these people to get the blue M&Ms. No, it's the next to the last Rage Select podcast of 2018 right here on Rage Select, and I am Jeff.
I'm John.
And John, we've got it's a crazy week. I got a bunch of there was a weird kind of funny game showcase, like this whole thing on YouTube that had a bunch of things. I haven't done shit except prep for the show next week. But before we get started, I understand that you might have seen a little Spider-Man movie.
No.
You didn't see that new Spider-Man movie?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that blows,
you're probably thinking of Michael.
That blows up a whole bunch of
I
stuff.
know we're very similar looking.
I don't see faces, John. I've got that face thing, you know. You both got beards. You both wear caps. That's all I see is the beard cat man. Hey, you! Welcome to the Rage Select podcast, whoever you are. Okay.
Both wear caps. Both wear hoodies. Both play video games. Read comic books. Yeah. I can see how that mistake could be made.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, I have not watched it.
Well, son of a bitch. That makes two of us. Okay. Well, did you do anything interesting last week? I sure didn't. Outside of just record.
I watched the first two parts of the CW Arrowverse crossover titled Elseworlds.
How was that?
Good. I need to watch the second part. I just haven't had a chance to. Or the third part. I haven't had a chance to. It's a 3-part thing. It's setting up next year's big crossover, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, you know, at least DC can make a comic book TV show work. Netflix.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, well, then let's just dispense with all these pleasantries and jump right into the news because we got a lot to go through, and this way we might actually get some questions that we didn't get to go to last week. So, yes, we got this kind of funny games showcase that was like just like a YouTube stream thing that happened.
Yeah, kind of funny games. There was no comedy in this. I was very surprised.
And I think that the biggest thing that we got was Judgment.
Oh my God! Yes, I am so excited.
AKA Project Judge has a Western release date now, and is going to be voiced. Is going to be dubbed.
Yeah, English cast.
Which, you know, I mean, like Yakuza 6 didn't have English. Like none of the Yakuza games, or at least none of the re-releases of Kiwami 2, I feel like have had an English cast because I know that like in when they were originally released, there was an English dub because Mark Hamill played Goro Majima in that, but this one does. I don't know how I feel about this. Like,
I'm okay with it because I mean, at least they're getting, American Asian actors, Japanese or whatever actors to play the characters,
right? So
like, it's not a bunch of white guys doing the voices of Japanese Yakuza characters or whatever characters these are now.
Yeah.
So
lawyers, man. Hot street lawyers.
Hot street lawyers, yeah. So I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the trailer looks awesome. I thought the voices sounded okay. They worked.
They do. I guess my whole thing is just that I'm so used to playing these games with like subtitles, and it's not just that, but the fact that like this particular team and this, and even when I'm looking at the kind of whiffs of Yakuza that you're seeing in here, like, okay, the law system that seems to be described in this looks like it's very Japanese, and right? So I kind of prefer when a thing is set in Japan and it's about Japan to just have it in. I mean, I don't know. I guess they'll probably have the original Japanese track.
Yeah, you'll probably be able to choose. I mean, I like the option, and I think they're going about it the right way, and it sounds good. And this also could be a way for them to test, like, maybe Yakuza 6 didn't do as well. Like, it did well, but not as well as they were hoping.
Right.
And this is like, they're like, oh, well, the West seems to be, America and other, like Europe and America seem to be really interested in this game. Let's try doing English voices again,
Right.
and see if maybe that helps the sales.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they're obviously putting like shitloads of money and work into this team. I mean, like, what, over the last 2 years we've had Yakuza 0, Kiwami 2, and 6 all come out, and they've got that the PS3 ones are getting mastered onto the PS4 right now. So, like, Sega's obviously dropping money into this franchise. What it came out on the PC for the first time, or Kiwami, I believe, was Kiwami and Kiwami 2, or was it 0 and Kiwami? Because they announced the PC game or the PC
last year at E3,
at E3
this year. Sorry, I get my years mixed up.
No, that's all right. I understand. I keep thinking about like what all happened in 2018. I remember somebody pointing out that like Far Cry 5 came out this year.
Yeah,
and I was like, right.
There was an Olympics this year.
Was there?
Apparently,
I was busy.
It's been like the meme going around.
Yeah,
like if y'all want to understand how bad 2018, the Olympics happened this year and no one noticed.
I saw a meme. I was looking through Imager, like a dump of memes, and it was like a tweet from somebody that was like, last year I was like, fuck you, 2018, bring it on. And now that I've lived through 2018, I'm like, hey, 2019, maybe put down that broken bottle. Let's just like be friends and chill out for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of 2019, though, this is coming out summer of next year, which to me is also an insane turnaround time between announcement and release.
Yeah. Because we just got this announced at E3.
Yeah. Well, no, post E3. I don't even think this was at E3. I think this was just it just dropped Project Judge one day. Like,
oh, I thought this was a thing at E3.
I don't believe so. I don't think that you and I, or was it like I thought it was just all by itself.
Oh, maybe it was.
Maybe I'm wrong too. I don't remember when the initial trailer was.
My memory of this year is bad. So
again,
my memory in period is bad. So,
Well, it's good that you and I are doing podcasts where we have to remember a bunch of facts and options. But I don't know. I mean, like, nothing that I've seen for. Granted, I've seen one trailer, but it was a really long trailer. And having played a bunch of the Yakuza games, you can look at this game and be like, I see what this game is. You're going to be running around. You're going to be doing errands for people. You're going to be spying on people. There's going to be a bunch of little mini games and whatever. And then
I look at it and go, it's Yakuza with a flair of Phoenix Wright. I'm down.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm down too. I don't know. If you've never, that's why it's good to have PlayStation Plus, because remember, it was like 2 months ago when Kiwami was free.
Yeah.
And it was just like, fuck, dude, that's a good get.
I already owned that game too. But no, that was a good get. Like, I was.
Like, if you didn't want to spend $20 on that game.
Yeah, I think I spent $20 and got like the Steelbook edition.
Yeah.
Off of Amazon.
That is insane. Okay, so we also had we've got a bunch more trailers here. We had Conan Unconquered, official cinematic announcement trailer, which this is another, like, boy, Funcom's just milking that Conan franchise.
Yeah, they are.
This is, all I can see here is what? Conan's got a castle. There's a bunch of giant spiders and an army. He's got a big, like, stone giant guy. Apparently, this is going to be
what the fuck's up with the giant stone guy?
I don't know. It's going to be tower defense?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Something about it being tower defense, or...
I don't think I've seen such an epic CGI trailer attached to such a weird gameplay concept since Command & Conquer Rivals at E3 this year. Speaking of E3... it's weird because have you played the Conan MMO?
No.
I feel like people like it, but Conan seems like the sort of thing that would be perfect for a single player video game, for like a third person God of War style.
They just prove how wrong that was in the previous Conan games.
Did they?
They did a couple, like back on the 360 and PS3. There were a couple of Conan single player games. Ooh, those were not good.
Were those also Funcom?
I don't know if they were Funcom, but they were total God of War ripoffs too.
Well,
they were not good.
I don't think Funcom is like the best company to be doing this. I don't know. And Petroglyph. I don't know. Maybe that MMO is really good. Maybe it's super, super good and I just need to go play it, and I haven't played it, and I'm a biased SOB, but like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's also weird to have such a grandiose trailer for a fucking tower defense game.
Yeah.
Like, it would be like if Square Enix had put out a super fully CGI animated trailer for that the Final Fantasy 15 pixel art game.
Oh, yeah.
But they had like a cinematic trailer from Final Fantasy 15 for then this game that ended up just being like bleh. I don't know. Do they have? Is there any gameplay of this out? Because this only happened this week. So
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't. I brought it up. I don't know if if you know for sure that it is that tower defense game.
Oh.
I just
is this it?
I just remember hearing something about it being a tower defense game.
Well, here's this is just that trailer. Oh wait, is this? Do we have some screenshots? Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh
so,
yeah,
it looks like Age of Empires.
Yeah,
sort of. But with just a bunch of little guys running around.
Yeah, and you're defending your city.
Boy, that looks. Do people still care about tower defense, John?
I don't know.
I never really did, except for what was the Double Fine one?
Steel Brigade or whatever.
Iron Brigade.
Iron Brigade.
What was it originally called?
Actually, I think it was originally called Iron Brigade, and then they had to change it, didn't they?
No, I thought it had
Trenched.
Trenched, yeah. I refuse. I will only be calling it Trenched, but yeah, I liked Trenched because it had a lot of because I got to have a tower defense, but also I got to drive around a giant mech. But outside of that, I don't know. I've never really been all that into tower defense. I've also never really been all that into Super Meat Boy, but the Super Meat Boy Forever trailer may be changing a little bit of that. I don't know. You were saying I don't remember there being punching or dashing in Super Meat Boy before.
Dashing, but there was like a slide, like a ground slide.
Okay,
where you could slide under things.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember that being there. I just remember original Super Meat Boy just running and jumping. Like that was it.
That's me too. But I feel like there might have been more Super Meat Boys that I just wasn't familiar with because I've never really been super into the franchise.
No, I mean, there's only ever been one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this looks charming as Super Meat Boy does. It also looks hard as nuts, which is also the thing that, I don't know, kind of stops me a little bit from Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, it looks like you can play as Bandage Girl as well.
Yeah, it looks like, well, their kid is kidnapped?
Yes, this time...
Dr. Babyhead or whatever.
Yeah, Babyhead is kidnapped their child.
Well,
that son of a bitch.
Yeah, you fucking asshole. I don't know. I mean, this looks like if you're into Super Meat Boy, this looks like some Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
It's not like they've turned it into a turn-based JRPG or anything. Like, it is just some straight-up Super Meat Boy.
With some added stuff.
Interesting, though, that this is one of those ones that's getting chained into the Epic store.
Oh,
as opposed to Steam, which it'll be interesting to see. Epic's really... They're really going at it.
Oh no! Apparently, from what I've heard, and I could be wrong. I could have read it wrong, but apparently, from what I've heard, there are actually people at Steam who are actually concerned about this.
Well, they changed their revenue share model like last week.
Yeah.
With when Epic came out, but it's like it's bullshit because it's like if you sell 5 million copies, then you can get to like 75-25 instead of 70-30, and if you sell like 50 million copies, you can get to like 80-20 instead of 70-30. I don't know. I think it's good. I mean, I think that it's good for Steam to have, like, it's possible that Steam might finally have to fucking clean up their bullshit and not put out garbage like, Hentai Puzzle Simulator if Epic can make a dent in them with their straight-up store. Now, I know that some people have also said that there's a problem where the Epic store, it's like if it's like $20 in the US, it's like 20 euros in Europe, which is not a direct one-to-one. Like, it makes games more expensive in Europe because it's just like the same dollar amount but with both currencies. So
that's something obviously Epic will have to fix.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully. From there we saw probably the most interesting looking thing in this whole bunch to me. Yick, Yiik, a postmodern RPG, which looks like Persona meets like
hipsters,
ooblets. I don't know. Like, sort of
hipster indie game design. Mixed with Persona.
Yeah. It looks like, it's like an RPG, but then there's all kinds of like weird stuff going on in here. It also reminds me of Earthbound because there's a lot of like fighting security guards. But there's a part in here where one of the characters is like a pacifist and just like holds up a protest sign. For some reason, I don't know. This looks like really weird and funky, and like it could be really interesting, or it could be so far up its own ass that I can't stand it. It's hard to tell.
Looks interesting and fun.
Yeah,
it looks like it's something I want to play.
Yeah, I like the art style. It's kind of weird. It kind of reminds me of like Night in the Woods a little bit, even though it's 3D. It kind of reminds me of.
It kind of reminds me of like a retro-y, like it's trying to look somewhat retro-y, but at the same time modern.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it's doing, I'm digging it.
Yeah.
whatever it's putting down, I'm picking that shit up. But I don't know. I mean, it's also interesting. I like it when games like, what Night in the Woods or whatever, where they take it's like a game based around the things that people feel, right? Instead of just like, go rescue the princess from this castle. But that's coming out January 17th on Steam, Switch, and the PS4.
Nice.
I mean, like,
a lot of games coming out for the Switch. A lot of indie games.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say if what I'm saying sounds at all interesting to you, do yourself a favor, go watch this trailer, because it's actually legitimately somewhat difficult to describe.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's some turn-based combat, and it's obviously got some kind of weird, but then there's also like a segment that we just saw where it's like the characters are running, but up in the sky there's like a giant no-faced figure with a sun behind it. There's like a part where what I think might be the main character is like using his hair to whip at stuff. There's this one part that's like a quick time event that looks like it's like Pokemon Snap, but as an attack in an RPG. I don't know. It's all really bizarre, and it's really interesting looking, and that's what I think does it for me more than anything else, is that like this doesn't look like anything else that I've seen. It almost looks like, okay, stick with me here.
I'm going to stick with you. Let's go.
If Suda51 made Earthbound right now,
okay,
maybe that's somewhat of a description. And I think it's just because there's this one shot here with these people sitting on thrones and a bunch of like wires coming out of their heads. This just looks like Suda51 to me. I don't know. But in any case, it looks really interesting, and that's one that I'm definitely putting on the list.
Yeah.
We saw another one called A Fold Apart, which is...
This looked cute.
Yeah, this one looks maybe a little too down-tempo and relaxed for old Jeff, but like you fold in the edges of the screen. It's like every screen is like a piece of paper that you can then fold in and kind of go around the back and around the front of it and go to the sides. And it's a love story between two characters.
Yeah, and you got to fold paper to figure out how to
get them together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the way it says a couple you can relate to it. I'm just like, fuck you, game. I'm single again. No.
Will love endure?
I don't know. I was saying the character designs look a lot to me like the emotions in Inside Out in that Pixar movie. But I don't know. Looks charming enough. I mean, we had no shortage of charming indie games at the Game Awards this year. Yeah. So throw one more on the list. And this is also coming in 2019. From there, we got what looks to be, I don't know, this looks like a pretty fun one. Moving Out, which kind of just reminds me of Overcooked, sort of.
Yeah, looks like Overcooked, but you're instead of cooking, you're moving furniture and boxes and packages.
It looks like definitely like one of those awkward controls physics-based thing where you're just picking stuff up and then throwing it and dragging it all over the place. But like, there's a thing here where the main, or what I assume is the main character, is like literally taking suitcases out of an airplane on the wing of the plane and throwing them into a
while
truck.
It's moving.
There's a part where they're dragging a dead giraffe. So it
towards
seems,
a dumpster.
Yep.
Because you got to hide the evidence.
Yep. There's
you got to hide the evidence, chef.
I do, dude. It's the Rage Select motto. Rage Select. Hide the evidence. Like security cameras and boulders and giant rooms. And also it's got co-op in it, so you and another person can so that now you too, even when you don't have to move, can experience the joy of being like, okay, listen, I'm going to move. No. Okay. Turn it. Turn the sofa. Turn it. All right. Now I'm going to go. Like that. I don't know. This is the kind of thing that looks like it could be really fun to play.
Looks cute
with a friend. We got a real weird one called Operencia, The Stolen Sun from Zen Studios, which if that name doesn't mean anything to you, Zen Studios is the one that makes a like pinball effects franchise with all the different like crazy tables. But this is like a dungeon crawling RPG, like one of them first person. Like what was that game on the PC that was big? They made a sequel for that was kind of like this, where like the old school first person dungeon crawlers.
Yeah.
It looks like that. Like you've got a party, and then you've got a bunch of kind of guys in front of you, and you're going to be attacking them. It looks pretty cool. I've never really been the biggest fan in the world of this particular type of game, just because it always feels very claustrophobic, being in first person the entire time. But what are you gonna do? I don't know anything.
Doesn't do anything for me, unfortunately.
Nothing.
Nothing. No.
What's your RPG? Like what do you like in our world of RPGs? I feel like I don't know that you play that many of them. I guess Project Cross Zone was like an RPG.
Yeah,
right?
I mean I like tactical RPGs.
Okay.
Like I'm very big in tactics games. But I mean I'll play other RPG. I'll play JRPGs if they're interesting enough, and I'll play
What was the last JRPG that you think you played significantly?
Significantly, oof.
Yeah.
I honestly can't think of anything. I'm sorry.
I mean,
outside of Valkyria Chronicles being a tactics JRPG or whatever you want to call it, but
right.
Outside of that, I really can't think of anything.
I think the last one that I played all the way to the end was Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, because I got mired in Persona and then forgot about it, never got back to it. But
yeah, I'm worried that's going to happen to me with Red Dead.
Oh,
not a JRPG, but
it's got that link. Got that link.
Yeah.
How far are you in Red Dead?
Somewhere in Chapter 3.
Chapter 3. Oh man. Well, but hey, are you going to get time off for Christmas this year? A little bit of time off. A
little bit.
Like it was Christmas on like a Tuesday this year.
It's on a Tuesday, so I'll get a 3-day weekend because of that. Because I'm off. My days off are Sunday and Monday, so I'll have Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
But then you don't have to go back the day after Christmas.
I do. Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Fucking come on. The world, like, give people a week off for Christmas.
It also sucks that Amanda, if I'm not mistaken, has to work the Monday before Christmas.
Oh, Christmas Eve?
Yeah, she has to work Christmas Eve.
Wow.
So
well, boo. Boo. I say boo to Rage Select on you and Amanda's behalf. And also to everybody else out there that has to work on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or the day after Christmas who does not want to. I personally think you should get the whole week off. Like, no matter what day Christmas falls on, there should be a week where you get it off.
Christmas Eve to New Year, the day after New Year's, you should have all that time off.
I believe so.
That'd be nice.
I am going to be able to take that.
No company will ever do that.
That's
or at least not give it to you paid.
Right. Back in the olden days, back when I worked for Dell back in the salad days in like the late 90s, right? They had enough money that they would be willing to like let you go for like 4 or 5 days around Christmas. And sometimes they'd even pay you for it. But yeah, nowadays I can't see that happening. Anyway, enough reminiscent about Christmas. We also got a trailer for Long Gone Days, which this is like a game is currently in Steam Early Access, and it's like a military RPG where you play as a sniper and you're kind of walking around. It seems like there's going to be a lot of like kind of like personal choices, moral dilemmas. What did I do? What is the truth of the matter? Did I kill the right person or stuff like that? It was weird because when you first started out, like there was a lot of just showing the characters kind of walking around as little pixel art characters, but then it appears there's like a weird turn-based battle system here where you're looking at like full resolution pictures of soldiers and then shooting at them and attacking them and stuff. It's a very strange looking game. I don't know. There's a part of it that kind of tickles my fancy because it's a genre that we don't get as much, but boy, it looks Japanese as all living fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Again,
it's also weird because the opening, I'm kind of curious about it because like the opening line of dialogue is a little, which is, from the day I was born, it was decided that I would be a sniper.
Yeah.
Then I went to the surface, or as I grew up, I had no interest in anything but doing my job until I went to the surface.
Right.
And it was just like, what does that mean?
Yeah. It's like some underground sniping schools. I figure you wouldn't have as much need to be a sniper if you were underground. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, this is on Steam Early Access, and then I believe it gets a full-on release in April. So If you are interested, that is Long Gone Days, and that is on Steam. We got a brief. We didn't watch all of this, but Away, Journey to the Unexpected, which appears to be kind of like a first-person action game. There's some kind of hook in here about like seeing through your enemy's eyes or something. And I kind of like the art style, kind of like what late 80s, early 90s anime kind of thing, and then some cel-shaded stuff. I don't know. This one did so little for me that I didn't finish watching the trailer.
Yeah, I know. I can't say I'm
terrifically into it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's coming out on the Switch. Yeah, I don't know. Go check it out. Let me know why I'm wrong. Whatever. And then last but not least, we got Fight Night, KNIGHT, which was just kind of a pixel blur of punching and punching.
I think my biggest problem with this is that I don't like understand what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is it's weird because everything has that like flash animated bounciness to it, which for a hard pixel style doesn't, in my mind at least, line up very well. Like, I don't like it when pixels bounce. I don't like rubbery pixels. So the idea that this is all just like, it's super, super bouncy and rubbery. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It looks somewhat interesting, but yeah, I'm with you where I have a hard time kind of just reading what's going on by looking at the screen. And that's coming out in spring. And yeah, that was the. I
do appreciate the last image from that trailer for Fight Night, where it says coming out spring of 2019. Parentheses. I hope. Parentheses on this console, and this.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was pretty much it. I think there was a little bit of other stuff. Yeah. Danganronpa games are going to be coming out in a collection on the PS4. Windjammers and Celeste are getting physical versions. Quarantine Circular is coming to the Switch. It's actually already out on the Switch by this time. Do you know about that?
No.
Subsurface Circular? Did you watch when Amanda and I played that?
Nope.
That was okay. Mike Bithell, the guy that made Thomas Was Alone.
Okay.
You remember that one with the little
I know what Thomas
squares?
Was Alone. Yeah.
And then Volume, where it was like a sneaking game, a throwback.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Volume.
And he decided to make these really small games. The first one's called Subsurface Circular.
Okay.
And it was you were a robot on a train trying to solve a murder.
I remember that. Yeah. No, I remember you told me about that.
Quarantine Circular is like there was a plague on Earth and an alien has been sent to judge humanity, and it's again like just a few different character models talking to each other. I played a little bit of it. I never put it on the channel because it's kind of a hard game to show because it's just a lot of text and talking to people, but I don't know. If you're interested in that sort of thing, maybe check it out. It's out on the Switch right now. So, yeah, we got a bunch of new trailers, and everything was good. And then everything was bad, because now we get to go to the part of the news. You know what? Last week there was a whole bummer of news sections between like the Fallout 76 leaks and the customer data leaking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
This year I feel like we've only got one really bad story. But, it's a doozy. Oh, Capcom, how are you so bad at this? Capcom, my Capcom. So Street Fighter V has added, and these are optional, turned on by default, but you can turn them off, in-game advertisements.
Yeah. Now, apparently, if you leave them on, you do earn in-game currency for leaving the in-game advertisements on.
Yes. For reference, what this is, okay, let's take care of that first. You earn 4 fight money bucks for having the costume ones on, and then 4 fight money for having the stage ads on per match. So you earn 8 fight money per match. A character unlock is 100,000 fight money. So that's just to put this in perspective. So yeah, there are a few things that happen here. Two of these I feel like are actually not incredibly offensive.
Yeah.
The last one is super offensive. So let's go over non-offensive first. So instead of a loading screen, you basically get a big advertisement, which is, check out all these new costumes that you can put on your characters. It's basically an ad for the DLC for the game. Yeah, okay, right? It's your loading screen. You don't want to put on tooltips. Kind of scummy, but I could live with that. That's
Yeah,
not a
because
big
at least
deal.
you're showing me other stuff for your game.
I wasn't doing anything anyway. It's not like I was doing anything anyway while the game was loading. And then inside of the actual arenas, in the tournament arenas where they have these big like TVs in the background, it's advertising the Capcom Pro Tour back there. Again, okay.
It's possible that they could put other advertisements other than the Pro Tour back there as well.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. That's just some background bullshit. I'm not usually looking at the background in a fighting game anyway. However, number 3 is that Capcom has fucking slathered these Capcom Pro Tour logos all over the characters. Like, they have replaced Guile's American flag tattoo with a Capcom Pro Tour sticker. But the problem is, okay,
That's not the only place they put him either.
yes,
Like
that's the problem.
Like it's all over it. Like where his badge would be on his shirt
Yep.
is replaced with the Capcom Pro Tour logo.
Yep.
His you can't see it in this picture, but on his collar, there's 2 tiny Capcom Pro Tour logos.
Oh my god. I mean, it's gross how many there are. And then the fact that they've done things like Dalsim's skulls that he wears around his neck. One of them has it on it, which apparently those are like the skulls of dead children or something.
Yeah. So and also for characters who don't have like a lot of clothing, like say Zangief or Dalsim, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
They've added an extra element to their base costume, which is a title belt.
Yes.
Which has the logo on the front of the belt.
Yeah. Also, like, and Bison's got a big one on it. I mean, everybody, they all have them, and they all have way too many of them.
Yeah.
The other one that I find especially egregious is that Akuma's back now has one on it. So when he does his ultimate, instead of seeing the death symbol or whatever that's back there, you just see this big fucking Capcom Pro Tour. And you know what really is weird to me about this, John, is like I would almost understand this if they were advertising like Cheetos and Mountain Dew, but like you're already if you're playing Street Fighter, why do you need to be advertising the Capcom Pro Tour?
I think those are placeholders.
Oh yeah?
I'm thinking that this is them testing it out and seeing if they can get away with it.
Yeah.
And then at some point down the line, those will
be
replaced
Cheetos and
with, like, I think someone did showed some photoshops in the article you were looking at. It'll be like McDonald's and Mountain Dew and Doritos logos and
I don't know. I mean, it's just if it was a free-to-play game, it would be fine.
apparently they tested this out by offering the game for free for people to download it for a weekend.
Right.
And the people who downloaded the free version, it had the ads and didn't have a way to turn it off. And then they launched the update in the game that you could turn it on
Right.
to get
The fight money. Yeah.
So that way you're not feeling like you're being forced to be advertised to after something you paid for. But yeah,
it's just real gross. It's
it's like, what is it? Balrog has like one on each glove. Also on his fight robe, like it's on the hat, the head of his fight robe.
Oh, the
plus
hood?
it's the hood on this fight robe, plus on like each side of the robe. Like it's like all over. Like it's weird. Like his, I'm kind of less of an issue with because boxers do that. That's
right. You can imagine that. Yeah,
but it's still egregious.
Yeah, it's real weird. And I think that, again, boy howdy Capcom, do you ever like they always manage to fuck this up hard, good and hard. Like this was not the end of 2018 was not the year to do this.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you were going to do it, maybe do it like maybe if they had some different logos, like more, because maybe the reason that it stands out so hard is they're all wearing the same logo at every point. Right?
I think these are placeholders until they see the reception, and then they're going to change it to actual marketing stuff.
You know what? I think that if it was free to play, if they offered you like the base roster free to play with these things and you can't turn them off, I think I'd be okay with that because, again, you're getting a free-to-play game. It's just the idea that you spent $60 and then we're going to have a bunch of ads in this bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, at least you can turn it off.
Yes, that's true.
You can turn it off.
Yes. Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's just. I feel like
it's just gross. It's just gross.
In all honesty, I feel like and someone had this idea, like higher up management had this idea to do this, and then went to somebody and said, "You make it happen." And they're like, "This is going to piss people off." And they're like, "No, we don't care. Make it happen." They're like, "Okay, well, let's put it in the arena." And we'll do on the loading screens, like that should be great. And they're like, no, it needs to be on the characters as well.
Right?
You want me to put the advertising logos on the characters? Yes, you put the advertising. Okay, well, I don't think this is a good idea, and they're not listening to me, so fuck it. Let's be obnoxious with it.
Or here, wait, here's another idea. If they went through and they created costumes for everybody that had ads built into them, and then like there was a free-to-play version
that only had those costumes.
And then like if they offered you like either you could buy the full game or hey, maybe you just want to a la carte buy a costume that doesn't have any ads on it for $2 or $1 or whatever, right? Like I can even offer them for real money or fight money, right? So if you watch enough ads, then you could unlock those ads. But like as it is, it just looks real nutty and gross. Like just blick. Blah. I mean, like, we've been talking about this, and, we ended up talking about this a lot last year. You and I were talking about Battlefront, where it's like, look, guys, I don't begrudge Capcom the ability to make money, but, like, there has to be a line where, like, I've paid my money, now give me the thing that I paid for without a million other ads. Like, I don't know. Or at least that's how I feel. Maybe unlimited ads are fine. But, the other thing is that I feel like we're so ad saturated these days that are those ads even going to do anything? Like they put
I think
Taco Bell logos all over.
I think most people are just going to turn them all off.
I think so too. But it's just weird. I don't know. It's weird and gross, and I don't like it, and it's gross.
I'm against it, even with the option there to turn it off. I don't think it's a good precedent for that option to be there, like for that to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like that's opening a doorway
that we want to keep closed.
Like,
see, you know what? I didn't even have problems because there were some games like, I remember there were like some racing games that would like download ads into like the billboards in the, like say like a Burnout Paradise, and then it would actually sell advertising content inside, and I'm like, I'm cool with that.
Well,
like,
I mean, if you look at WWE games, for example, they always advertise truth marketing, the truth about smoking. There's also Snickers logos. I mean, they even have a fucking Snickers achievement. In those games, but yeah, they actually have like real marketing partners of the WWE, and that kind of adds to the like this is just like the TV show where you see these things advertised, and they're not like egregiously thrown in your face either. They're just stuff in the banners in the background,
or like the real life products in Yakuza, right? That are actual brands that are there.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I ever, prior to this, ever really had an issue with marketing was in one of my favorite games, Alan Wake, where to get an achievement, you had to stop what you were doing and watch an entire commercial.
Oh, for Energizer?
For Energizer. During a part where you're being chased by an evil demon thing, and then you get to a room where it stops chasing you, but it's on the other side of the door, and it's banging on the door trying to break the door down, but they give you just enough time to watch the full commercial.
Watch that full Energizer commercial, bro.
It's just a weird spot.
Yeah.
It was in a weird spot. Like if that had been somewhere else, like in a part that was not so like
if you'd just been walking from one place to another and there was a shack and you went in and it was showing the end of one of the
kind of like with the
TV
radio
shows.
programs or whatever you can listen to, where it's not like you're not, it's not as imperative that you get the fuck out of there.
Right.
Like that was like I was like, Remedy, you're my fave, but
however,
this is kind of some bullshit.
However, you might give points to Remedy of them putting an advertisement in a place in the game where most players are going to skip it because they're engaged in the game.
Yeah.
Outside of just being like, what, I got to watch fucking commercials in this game now?
Yeah, but if you want 100% the game, you want to get that achievement. They gave it attached a fucking achievement to it.
Achievements.
But I digress.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, boo on you, Capcom. The only thing I could say is that Capcom does seem like they sort of learned from their mistakes a little bit. Like, a little bit. They don't seem as bad as, like, EA and Ubisoft, who they just kind of triple down on whatever the fuck they do, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, is anyone still playing fucking Street Fighter? I mean, I know they have the Street Fighter Pro Tour or whatever that they're advertising with these goddamn advertisements, but
I would have to assume so. I'd have to assume so.
I mean, is everyone just gonna go play the new Mortal Kombat when it comes out?
Yay!
Street Fighter behind.
I'm going to, but that's because I like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I mean, I already left Street Fighter behind now that I have Soul Calibur 6. Like, that game, on point. So
okay, fair enough.
And Smash.
Yeah. Well. Let's see. Where to file this? I don't have to. Let's see. Error 404. Transition not found. Segue not found. The PlayStation Classic has been hacked to fuck this week. Apparently, it turns out that this thing was thrown together so easily. I don't know what this means, but like that the like encryption key for the software on it was like included on the console.
Yeah.
Like as a file that you could literally get at that's on the console.
Yeah.
So as of this writing, people have already managed to basically create ways for you to just load up ROMs on a USB key. You have to do a bunch of USB key jiggery pokery, but like then you get in there, you can access. You don't have to have the keyboard or anything. You can just like select in the triangle button, and you can just get into a menu, load up your own shit. I watched a video of some people like, here's Crash, here's Spyro, here's Parasite Eve, here's Einhander, here's them all running on PlayStation Classic. So, I don't know. You and I were talking about, we have two different theories.
I honestly have the feeling that because it's Sony and they went, oh shit, look at all the money that Nintendo's making with those classics.
Yeah.
With the NES and SNES Classic. We got to get that fucking money. Hey,
but that's just Tuesday at the Sony building, right? We got to get that money, y'all.
We got to get that fucking money. We need a cut of that. We need to get our beak sweat on that classic action.
Right.
And then they went, let's give it to Steve, an account, in like this other department that kind of half does stuff. And also we'll give him no time to work on it. Just churn it out as quickly as possible. And he's like, fuck. And just put it together as quickly as possible. Wasn't even thinking. I was like, there, it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, cool. Did I leave the encryption key on there? No. You know what? I don't care. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done. They wanted it quick. It's done. I finished it. I'm out.
I gotta go see The Weeknd in concert on the weekend. I'm going to Burning Man this year. See ya. And I know that I'm wrong, but I don't care. I love the idea that Sony was like, hey, can we get the rights to all the games that people want to play on the PlayStation 1? And they're just like, oh, no. And like, it'd be a real shame if when we shipped out that PlayStation Classic, if we left a key on there to basically make a $99 PlayStation 1 emulator that then a whole bunch of people would want to buy a whole bunch of because they take it home, take it out of the box, and then immediately plug in the custom software that they're obviously going to be writing in a minute for. Because I was watching it this week. Like, there's literally been like 8 different revs of this. It's called like Bleamcast or something.
Yeah.
That somebody is writing a new UI that has all the art and everything, where you can then just literally copy games onto it and run it from there. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like,
I just feel like the thing is so bare bones.
Yeah.
Like that it feels like it was hastily put together.
I agree. I mean, they're using PCSX 2. That's what I have on my Raspberry Pi. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I do know, though, that if this is what they've done with the PS1, I can't wait for the PS2 Classic. Oh, anytime you want to put out the PS2 Classic, Sony, you just go right ahead. I'll be there day one. I don't know. Do you think a PS2 Classic... The problem, I think, with the PS2 Classic is that the PS2 still requires, like a Raspberry Pi can run PlayStation 1 games. Like, PlayStation 2 games requat a little more.
Yeah, that's where the generation kind of started getting. It's why we'll never get a GameCube Classic, or at least an N64 Classic was feasible, even though Nintendo's come right out and said it'll never happen.
Right. No, that's Nintendo though. You can't trust a word out of Nintendo's mouth.
Yeah, but it was at least feasible. But like with GameCube, PS2, Xbox era, like OG Xbox, like those three, like that's kind of the era where classic, like where the games kind of take a little bit more to process.
I think that what we're probably looking at for that era of games is probably going to take several years worth of upgrading stuff like the ARM processors. Of course, you know what? I bet that with some work, a Switch could probably run PS2 games.
Oh, I'm sure Switch could run GameCube games and N64 games and all those things and everything, but Nintendo doesn't care.
Well, yeah. Well, no, but what I'm saying is that if you miniaturize that part of the processing power, took out the screen and everything and put it into a little box, I'm not saying that either one of them would make it, but that they could make it.
Yeah.
The real question is just like, if they were to make a PlayStation 2 Classic and it had 20 bullshit games on it, would you pay more than $100 for that? Because the PSX Classic is $100. They'd have to put more hardware into a PS2 Classic.
Yeah.
Like, it'd have to have more hardware than what's in there.
I don't know.
So, anyway, but if you do have a PlayStation 1 Classic, another thing that I found when I was looking through the news today is that apparently the company 8DO, which makes, or 8-bit DO, which makes some really cool stuff. I think that they make, if I'm not mistaken, they make some, they make a lot of like retro stuff. I think the controller that I have, they make like these.
Yeah.
It looks like a Super Nintendo controller with analog sticks on it that's blue, also Bluetooth. I'm pretty sure that the one that I've got over here is actually from them as well. They actually make really good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. My Super Nintendo Bluetooth controller. They make really good stuff. Like it feels really good. It feels like solid, right? They actually came out with an adapter that you can plug into the PlayStation Classic that will let you then use PlayStation 4 DualShock controllers to play the PlayStation Classic, which is cool. And it's $20. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan. It also looks like a little weird Mario brick.
Yeah, it does.
For some reason. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to use those little ass cords that came with it.
Well, I think it's because 8-bit Do or 8-bit Do is kind of their logo and everything is kind of a play on Nintendo. So
yeah, I agree. Also, by the way, since we're talking about all this stuff, last week I went out and I don't know if I've showed you this, John. I went out and ordered a new case for my Raspberry Pi, which is a little Mega Drive case that's been made by. It's called a Mega Pi case. And it actually has like a functional on-off button, a functional reset button, and a little place to hide all your games on the inside. And it is cute as balls. It looks like a little tiny Sega Mega Drive.
Why does it have a case to hide stuff in?
Every time that I look at the like, for those of you who don't know, the circle part at the top of the Mega Drive pops open here like a little case.
Yeah.
Whenever I looked at it, people are like, and you could put more SD cards in this place, and I'm like, why would you ever
hold? Oh, okay, I get it.
Need to put anything in there, but
to hold SD cards. Okay.
But yeah, it's a nice case. Like they make a kind of a fakey SNES and a fakey NES case, and that one, the Sega Genesis one, the Mega Drive one, is like really solid. Like feels nice. It's got some ports in it where you can get access to like the cards and outputs and stuff. So yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I like it. That's what I like. Right on. So let's see. Let's move on to Epic. Epic has announced that in 2019 they're going to be trying to further the cause of cross-platform gaming by giving people the tools to be able to run their games across 7 different platforms: PC, Mac, iOS, Android, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, to be able to basically cross-play between all of those different platforms, which I know that a lot of people are interested in cross-platform gaming.
I mean, it's kind of the I mean, Sony's apparently the only one who doesn't want to do it, which I understand it. Microsoft, they already have cross-platform between PC and Xbox and cross-platforming with Nintendo because of Sony's resistance to it.
Because it makes them look good.
It just makes them look good.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's like, yeah, we don't fucking care.
Yeah. So anyway, you'll have that to look forward to in 2019. You also have the ability to buy the in 2019 the Nier Automata Game of the Yorha edition.
Oh.
Which instead of Game of the Year, it's Yorha because it's like the organization in Nier is called Yorha.
Oh.
And this is, I mean, if you've already got the Xbox One version of the game, this is basically the game and then all the DLC. And the DLC for it was it's just like a bunch of boss arenas. Like there wasn't a lot to it. However, it did come with this announcement for the Game of the Yorha edition by Yoko Taro, which I thought was just delightful because this guy's another one of I like him as a weird developer. And I'm going to read this. It says, Square Enix has asked me for a comment to mark the announcement of the Nier Automata Game of the Yorha edition. Now that you mention it, Nier Automata was first released on the 23rd of February 2017 in Japan, 7th of March 2017 in America, and the 10th of March 2017 in Europe. I've noticed something bizarre and fascinating about these numbers. If you write these dates out in long form as 20170-223, 20170-307, and 20170-310, and then add all three numbers together, you get 605-10840. If you take that total, split the digits in two down the middle, making 6051 and 0840, and then subtract the second number from the first, unbelievably, you get 5211. That's right, a number completely devoid of all meaning. Just like life, really, isn't it? Over and out.
Yeah, that's good. That was good.
So, it's nice that somebody's taking the piss out of it. But so if you're interested, Nier Automata was a very strange game, and I think that if you can get it with all the DLC and it comes out at like a $20 price point, it's so bizarre. Like, I almost kind of want to play it as a sequential, even though it's really long, just because I almost don't want to I don't want other people to have to play that game because it's not really the most fun game in the world, but it is really weird and interesting. So,
but then you'd have to play it twice.
Oh no, like 6 times. You get all the endings.
There you go.
Yeah. Twice is just the beginning, John.
Oh.
Fortunately, things speed up quite a bit from twice, but I'll tell you what, you don't have to play twice in order to get access to the full game, and that's Soul Calibur 6. And we got announcement that 2B is coming to Soul Calibur 6 on December 18th.
Yes,
so,
we knew she was a character. We just didn't know when she was coming out.
Yep.
Now we do. That's cool.
Yep. So there you go. Now you can have Geralt fight 2B. It's just a weird time that we live in with all of this.
Oh my God! What if Geralt is one of the Smash Brother characters?
He's just in everything now?
Yeah.
Just fucking Geralt of Rivia and everything?
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it strange already that Solid Snake and Joker from Persona are going to be able to have a fucking fight with each other.
With Pac-Man.
With Pac-Man and Sonic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? And Mr. Game & Watch and the Duck Hunt dog are there too.
Yeah.
So
still haven't unlocked the duck from Duck Hunt, Dog and Duck yet.
Yeah. They've got like names.
Yeah.
Like specific names now.
I don't know.
I haven't actually been back to Smash since we played it. I played
live stream?
on the live stream, and then I went back and I played just a little bit more of it. Like after the live stream, I was uploading a few things, but
yeah, I haven't played much of the story mode just because. I just haven't played much of the story mode.
That map is big.
It's big. Also, apparently, there's like 3 different endings to the game.
Okay.
To it.
All right.
Like, what is it? Matt Pad on Game Theorist already did a theory on what the ending means.
Oh, Jesus.
He released that video the day the game came out.
What? All right.
Like the day or the day after.
Yeah.
It was just like, motherfucker, I just got this game.
Can't watch this.
Why are you giving me spoilers?
Can't watch this.
Though, from what I understand, the ending is very ambiguous and requires a lot of reading into.
Well, the story was very ambiguous. It didn't really say that much about anything. It was just like, I don't know, the hands and the big Sephiroth wing cloud came down and turned everybody into evil versions. Kirby got away. Go get your friends or something? Question mark? Like,
yeah.
But, well, speaking of Smash Brothers, there's going to be an update coming soon.
Nice.
And apparently, this is a new thing for Nintendo to tell you ahead of time because the way that Smash Brothers saves replays is they save the game input data.
Yeah.
So, like, instead of saving a video, it saves, like, then Little Mac hit B and then Samus jumped, right? And so whenever they do, like, a balance update, it can fuck that up, because if they change the way that the characters either operate or damage values, it can fuck up the replay because the data doesn't work
something
anymore.
about that. Yeah.
So the thing is that there's a 1.20 update coming, and the reason that they really wanted to tell you about this is so that you can like get video of your replays and save them if you want to do that, because after the update they may not be viable anymore. Seems to be like, if that's the case, you should just, I don't know, like, can you not just say, hey, this replay was made in version 1.0? Like, it's already got a million rules. Can't you just adjust the rules to 1.0 version?
Probably not. Probably not without breaking something.
Anyway. Well, speaking of breaking something, now you can break your fucking friends' faces in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, you
because
can.
them trainer battles are out there.
Yeah, they are.
Johnny, battling trainers.
I have not battled any trainers yet, but I know the function is there.
Are you and Amanda going to battle to find out who's the king?
Probably.
Who's the lord of the household? Who gets the dog?
The dog is the lord of the household. What are you talking about?
That's true. Yeah, so apparently you got to get up to level 10 and you can actually start battling with other people.
Yeah.
So now I'm expecting to see fist fights. I don't know. Do people still play? I mean, what, Pokemon Go was like all the rage for like 4 months, right? And then...
Nah, dude. There's still a pretty big community around it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure about that. But I feel like there's that
every time there's a big update like this,
yeah,
the community gets bigger and then people kind of start falling off again.
Okay.
So like there was a big... Like when it first launched, it was huge, and then after about like I want to say like 6 or 7 months, it kind of started to drop off.
Yeah,
and then there was a bigger update earlier this year, maybe at the end of last year.
Okay,
that changed things and then brought a bunch of people back in, and it was kind of a big thing for about 5 or 6 months again, and then it's kind of started to die down, and then now this update's come out, and so
okay.
I expect people to go, oh, I want to see how trainer battles go, and it pick up again.
Fair enough. Yeah, so, yeah, that's cool. If you're into Pokemon Go, there you go.
I am into Pokemon Go. I play it every day.
Yeah. Now, if you're into Kiefer Sutherland, on the other hand, then Pokemon Go doesn't have anything for you, but Call of Duty Black Ops is going to. The first Black Ops Pass is coming out, and there's a bunch of updates for all the different modes. There's going to be, I believe, a new character in the multiplayer, because you know how it's a hero shooter, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a new like character with new powers. The Blackout mode is going to be getting a few different updates as well. But the thing that was actually kind of interesting to me was that there's a new zombie map / mode, which is what is it called? Dead of the Night, which takes place inside of like a kind of Victorian manor. And the characters are like, I felt like when they launched the characters, none of the characters were like famous people, right?
No,
it was just kind of randos.
Yeah.
But this has Charles Dance, aka Tywin Lannister, as the butler. Brian Blessed of I always remember him from like, he was Flash Gordon, right? He had the wing guys and Flash Gordon.
Oh, was he?
Brian Blessed?
Is that him?
I think so.
Oh, I don't remember.
Or no, maybe I'm thinking about the wrong person.
I think you might be thinking of the wrong person.
Anyway, he's the Brigadier. We got Helena Bonham Carter as the psychic, and good old Kiefer Sutherland as the gunslinger. Yeah, it's funny. This trailer looks fun, but then I remember that it's in Call of Duty Zombies, and I don't like playing Call of Duty Zombies. So it's interesting though how they really go out of their way to make these characters look a lot like people, like the people that they're based on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Looks pretty good. Let's see. From there, we got a new trailer for Left Alive called Find a Way to Survive that kind of goes over how, for those of you who don't remember, even though I've been talking about it kind of nonstop, this game is like kind of like a discount Metal Gear, it seems like.
Yeah.
Like a third-person shooter, but then it's very kind of like military, futuristic. There's robots, there's some sneaking and kind of doing stuff. I don't know. It looks an awful lot like Metal Gear. And this trailer shows just kind of a bunch of different things. Like there's one cutscene where you can kind of try to there's like a choice system where you can like, make different choices that'll factor into the story. you can sneak or you can go loud. You can blow stuff up. You can get in a big mech. The only thing is that there's a few parts of this trailer where they show like this inside of this building, and boy, is it ever sparse. It's just like there's not a lot in the environments. It seems really kind of empty. So who knows? Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be empty. I do like Front Mission. I do like Metal Gear. I do kind of like what I'm seeing here, but I don't know.
Could be a peanut butter and jelly situation.
Yep, could be. Let's see. After that, we got a trailer for Gris.
This game looks beautiful.
It really does. This is a game, I don't know. This is announced at E3, right?
Yes.
Where it's Devolver Digital published. It's kind of like 2D Journey, but with a lady and this really kind of like painterly art style.
Yeah.
I already have it. I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet, but like, boy, is it ever pretty.
Yeah, it's very
super pretty. And looks really fascinating. So I can't wait to get a chance to play this. Yeah, we'll see. And let's see, last but not least, we got a trailer for the Overwatch seasonal event Winter Wonderland 2018.
Which is live, motherfuckers!
Yep. Okay, John, I'm a little disappointed in the costumes this year.
I'm disappointed with all but one.
Krampus. Junkrat Krampus is awesome.
Krampus is fucking bomb.
But the rest of them, yeah, they kind of suck. I don't know. Maybe they just got all of their best creative ideas out. Oh, you know what? Reinhardt's isn't that bad, where it's got a bunch of like bows and stuff on it. But some of the emotes that they've got are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really like the one where Torbjorn opens up the present. It's a bunch of little turrets.
Oh yeah,
jumping around. That's pretty cute. Yeah. Now they've brought back the Yeti Hunter Maze Snowball Offensive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a problem. The big map change this year was that Blizzard World was turned into Christmas themed.
Yep, and there were some problems with that.
Yep, people couldn't get out of the spawn apparently.
Yeah, you couldn't leave the spawn area.
So they currently have that turned off. And for a seasonal time-limited event, it's like, well, turn it back on. Like I was literally the other night playing it, and I went to the map browser to look for that map, and I was like, why can't I find Blizzard World in here anywhere? So now you know the reason for the season.
Yeah, because people were literally, you would play it, and it would not let you leave the room. Like all the doors were shut. That's
weird, and I don't know how that would happen.
Yeah.
Like, usually Blizzard's better than that. That's the sort of thing that you normally see in a Blizzard game. But I don't know. Probably by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be turned back on, as Blizzard knows what side of the holiday event their bread is buttered on.
Yeah. True.
Last but not least, we got a few announcements and fun things. Witcher's going to be in Monster Hunter.
No, Geralt's everywhere now.
Hey, Geralt's all over the place. He doesn't got any games to be in. He's free to just wander around, you know? He's like a nouveau reach guy who could just like go to Sizzler whenever he wants.
Well it worked with Noctis.
Yep. Yeah.
I went, maybe me too.
And that's strange. Monster Hunter also has this like winter festival that's coming.
Yeah.
That is happening right now. That's like their Christmas event where it's snowy and there's some weird stuff. I don't know. I'm not really interested in going back and playing Monster Hunter. But yeah, Geralt's going to be a Monster Hunter. So if the one thing keeping you from playing Monster Hunter World was the lack of Geralt, you know what I will say, though? Geralt makes more sense than anybody else, though,
Ryu.
Right? Definitely Ryu. I mean, you know, with all that Mega Man bullshit. But I know that you couldn't be Mega Man. But like, if you were going to put another character from another franchise into Monster Hunter World, Geralt makes sense because it's goddamn Monster Hunter. Like, his game's about hunting monsters. You hunt monsters all the time.
I just want to know, when is Mila Jovovich going to be in the game?
Why would she be in there?
She's the star of the Monster Hunter movie.
There's a Monster Hunter movie?
Yeah, it's being filmed right now. It's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. So, of course, Mila Jovovich is the star of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's...
Of course
I'm surprised you haven't seen any of the news updates about that over the last couple of months.
I've been too busy looking at Evangelion's coming to Netflix, and then the guy from Funimation doesn't like that or something. But
yeah, he's all butthurt.
Metro Exodus is coming out next year. I feel it's weird because I feel like we heard about that, 2 years ago was when it was announced at E3?
Yeah.
Metro game?
Yeah.
And it's going to be launching on February 15th, which is actually a week earlier than it was originally going to come out.
Yeah.
So, good job. If you're a fan of Panzer Dragoon, apparently Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2 are being remade.
Okay.
Which I'm a little bit like, okay, because, I mean, maybe you can answer this question. Panzer Dragoon 1, was any good? Or was it just like a spectacle game? Like, I'd never seen anything that looks like it before. Because I remember playing it and beating it on the Saturn and being really impressed with the graphics, but the actual gameplay was kind of like, and it was like 2 hours long.
I never really played the Panzer Dragoon games, so I don't know.
I'm also not incredibly interested in this because it's being made by a company called Forever Entertainment, and their other claim to fame was Fear Effect Sedna, which I also did not think was super interesting. So, all right, 2 more, and then we're out of here. So today, or no, not today. Well, whatever.
It's earlier this week.
So they're making a Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yes, it's directed by the same guy who directed the first Deadpool movie.
Okay, and so far, there hasn't been very much out of this movie outside of just still frames. But IGN put up like a visual poster thing, which has a silhouette of Sonic with a bunch of lightning around it, and it looks like a regular person's body with a big head, Sonic head on top of it. It looks weird, but
it does. It looks like Sega was sitting there and they saw the the Detective Pikachu trailer with the realistic looking Pokemon and they went, "Oh, hold my beer."
Well, you know what? See, here's the thing. I don't think there's any way that this could have. I don't think there was any good solution to this because, okay, if Sonic the Hedgehog was an actual hedgehog, that would make any sense because he'd just be a little tiny thing. If he was like this, I'm sure Sonic fans are super happy about this. That looks weird because he's not a person; he's a hedgehog. If he would look like he does in the video games, like in that game where everybody was realistic, but Sonic still looked like he does in the games.
Yeah,
that looks weird because there's regular people and there's just mutant monster.
There's another poster, like an actual movie poster, that's of where you just see his legs. And he's sitting like on the top of the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever.
Okay.
And it's just weird. Like it is.
I mean, did we think that
it's weird looking?
Did we think that this was going to be good?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be the Sonic hate guy, but like I'm not a big fan of Sonic. Was there a chance? Did people think that this was going to be like a good movie?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as the guy who directed Deadpool was involved, people thought it was going to be good. Like if you scroll up, because you kind of they're right next to the second row in the middle.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay.
Like that's a legit poster.
With the legs.
With the legs. And everyone's like, he's got like these weird human... he's also not wearing socks.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then somebody did a fan edit of what the character... they feel like the character will look like that's being passed around as like an official looking thing.
Yeah.
And it's not. But it's...
I don't know. It looks weird.
It does. It looks weird. And I'm pretty sure it's there's no way it's gonna. I mean, in all honesty, I figured they were gonna just make it look like cartoon Sonic, just in CGI. And it would probably be somewhat hairy, but like the proportions would be just like they are in the cartoons because you got to think about it. Sonic is kind of in that realm of, I think, what was it? One of the creators, one of the people who works in the Sonic games, even said like it's weird because Sonic is considered like a fairy version of a hedgehog.
Okay,
where it's not realistic. It's not supposed to be realistic.
Right.
He has his own design and proportions, and that the second you remove it from that and try to make it realistic or something, it
all falls flat.
It all falls apart.
Right.
And I kind of agree with it a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe they should.
I also feel like that's the same reason that live action Mario Brothers doesn't work.
Yeah. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
We already saw it.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie because of how bad it is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work because
it's the reason why when they like or I don't know if this falls in the same category, but to me it seems like the same reason why whenever they try to do live action anime it looks really stupid because like a cartoon looks like it can do certain things and like live action people doing the same thing a cartoon can do looks weird a lot of times.
It works sometimes, like Scott Pilgrim, but it doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It looks like it's going to be real weird looking. I don't know. Maybe once we see what the full thing looks like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
I'm sure.
I mean, you seem like you're disappointed, but did you ever have like
Oh no! I'm
faith
not
that this is going to be
I'm
like
not disappointed. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Oh, okay.
Like this is more of a. I think what is it? Someone shared that picture of the kid in like the child's Sonic costume, and it looks like almost accurate.
Yeah.
To that image. But it's just like I don't know. It just looks weird, and I don't know that I ever expected it to be good. I don't even know if I ever expected it to be to look good.
Yeah.
I just look at this and just go, why?
Gotta cash in on that fucking Sonic money, man. Gotta go fast.
Yeah, I guess that's how they're treating their money. It's got to go fast. Get it the fuck out the door.
Look, here, let me just say this real fast. In my experience, Sonic fans will watch or play whatever.
True.
There is no Sonic fan who's like, you know what? That new Sonic game kind of looks like garbage. I'm not going to play it. Nope. It just doesn't matter. So, anyway, well, speaking of Sonic, we got one last story here that, a thing that might have resolved badly, but resolved well. I don't know if you saw this. Apparently, there's a bunch of guys that were hanging around playing Smash Brothers, and they were getting really loud, and their neighbors called the cops on them.
Oh, yeah.
And then the cops came, and the cops showed up, and they were like, "Nah, man, we're just playing Smash Brothers. Do you guys want to play Smash Brothers?" And they were like, "Yup." And
apparently one of the cops was like, "So which one's the jump button? I've never played this game before." And then proceeded to school them.
Yeah.
Because apparently they actually have Smash Brother tournaments at their precinct.
Yeah. Which great. We in 2018 and in social media in general, too often we hit up bad experiences, bad things. So it's nice to just have a wholesome, nice story with a nice ending.
Yeah, apparently the police officers showed up and they didn't think they were being too loud.
Yeah.
Like when they showed up, like before they even knocked on the door, they were like, "Are we at the right place? Because this doesn't really seem too loud." And then when they knocked on the door, like the people inside were very courteous, very like, "Oh, what can we do for you, officer?" And they're like, "Well, we've had complaints from your neighbors." And they're like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll totally turn it down. Like we didn't realize we were being loud. Sorry about that." And it's like, "Well, we're not really sure that you were being loud, but because it didn't really seem like you were being loud to us, but we've got complaints, so we had to come by." And they're like, "Oh, you want to play? Since you're here?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yes."
Well,
how do you play this game?
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're actually going to answer some questions this week. So stick around, and we'll see you in just a minute. And we're back. And John, it's time for questions.
I'm ready for questions.
Are you ready for questions?
I'm ready for questions.
Mail@rageselect.com is the email address to send your questions into. Our first question this week comes in from Martin, who says, "Hello, Jeff and John. Longtime listener here. I beat Earthbound yesterday, and I disliked the final fight." This is a spoiler warning for the end of Earthbound. I don't know if you've played Earthbound all the way to the end.
It's been a while, but yeah.
But
I don't think I ever beat it.
If you want to, I don't know. The game's been out a while, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it.
Don't worry about it.
I thought it was lame how there is only one way to beat Gigas, by the power of prayer, because the fight is scripted to suddenly have Paula's least useful move now have a different effect than usual. All other attacks are pointless, even though the game tells you that Gigas takes damage when he doesn't. I like the symbolism and the design of Gigas, but I was really disappointed that I couldn't form my own strategy. One might say that Pokey hints you to use pray, but I had a nickel for every bad guy telling me how invincible the final boss was, and I should just say my last prayer, etc., etc. Would have enough to buy that house internet. I realized what to do by the power of the internet after having wasted 30 minutes hitting him over and over with Ness, my last man standing. What do you guys think, and have you had a similar experience with other scripted boss fights? Thank you for years of entertainment, and here's to years to come. Scal Martin from Denmark. So I don't know if you know about that in Earthbound.
I don't.
Or one of your characters has the ability to pray.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I think it gives you like a minor buff, but it really doesn't do very much throughout most of the game.
Yeah.
And when we get to the last boss, there is no way to beat the last boss without using specifically pray. Like none of your attacks, you can't just whittle him down over time or whatever. You have to just hit pray, hit pray, hit pray, hit pray, and eventually there's like divine intervention or something. I watched a video on it a long time ago. I never actually beat Earthbound, but I know of that part.
Yeah.
So, Martin, I think that there is a weird disconnect here where, like, I think that there is. I understand what the developers are doing there, especially when you consider when Earthbound was released, like there wasn't an internet, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you just kind of had to figure this thing out on your own, and it's almost like I can understand the thinking of how like everything that you've used to play through the game, all the attacks, all of the stuff that you've done has no effect on this like larger than life boss. Like you can make an argument that in some cases the idea that, you know, like at the end of Final Fantasy 13 you fight God. You literally fight God. Like Lightning and company, well, or actually it's just Lightning, I believe. They literally fight the Lord and kill him and because of blah 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 JRPG, right? So I can see how a developer might be like, it's kind of ridiculous sometimes when you have these enemies that are so powerful that they could literally destroy everything, and by the time you get to the end of the game, you're so powerful that you can literally take on gods. And as a power fantasy, I understand that, but then as the idea of subverting that into being like, you know, the only way to do this is to essentially use this thing that, you know, it should be useless. I can understand where they're coming from. I can also understand how, especially if you're at the end of a really big multi-hour JRPG and you're like, I'm at the last boss and I can't beat them, and what the fuck is even going on here, how that could be really frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's like, I feel like you get into situations where that's the chance that you take when you try to do something like interesting or subversive with your game system, right? Like, is that you do take the chance, run the chance of having somebody kind of just try to play your game in a specific way and then get frustrated by not having that stuff happen. Like in Nier, right? Nier doesn't autosave. So if you don't manually save and you die and you just forget to do that, like you go back to the last time that you saved. In fact, I think that Matt and I played you and I played the demo, but when Matt and I played the original game, we got to the first boss at the end of the first chapter and we died, and it literally was like, okay, back to the beginning with you. Like, and it was like, oh fuck. So, but I also like when developers have the ability to, I like it when they try shit like that. I like it when they try weird shit like that. I'm trying to think of other scripted boss fights though that are weird or have kind of bizarreness. I do remember always being really affected by the, Metal Gear Solid 3, where you get to the River of Death. I don't know if you know this, but in Metal Gear Solid 3, there's a boss that's like, he's a ghost, and you fight him in this like river of sticks, basically. Yeah. And like the river has people in it, right? But every one of those people is a person that you've killed. So if you go through the game and you do it non-lethally, that river is literally empty except for the bosses that you've already killed.
Yeah.
But if you've just been like killing people nonstop, then the ghosts, they're easy to take out, but if they touch you, they take a little bit of your health off. So if you killed a lot of people, it's a much harder fight than if you spent the game being more passive. And that's a really interesting way to use mechanics to make like a statement about how you're playing the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then you have kind of similar to that, and even it's tied to, in a way, the Earthbound / Mother series, Undertale.
Yeah.
Where if you play it where you just attack and kill everything, you're basically playing the game wrong.
Right.
But if you play it in the pacifist way, which there's totally a way to do it where you play pacifist and you get the best ending through that method. But like there's a whole different. It's almost a completely different game.
Yeah,
playing it that way.
Because there's like different dialogue and stuff.
Yeah,
too, right?
there's different dialogue,
story.
different story, almost completely different story.
I've never played it past when I played it before.
Yeah.
I always meant to sit down and play it, but I just never got the chance.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's the guy who created it as a love letter to Earthbound and those games.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, like we were even talking earlier in the show about that YII. That Yick game or whatever that kind of seems like it has some like strange stuff going on. I don't know. I mean, for my money, I feel like as long as there are some games, like as long as every game isn't trying to be super clever, that's fine.
Yeah,
we're going to get to the end of Dragon Warrior. I don't want to just. I want it to be the new thing where every time you get to the end of a JRPG, you hit the pray button over and over again. As far as like scripted boss fights go. The thing that immediately comes to mind are the ones from what is it? The third Deus Ex game.
Okay.
Where the boss fights were all combat encounters, and even though the game had ways for you to do everything but the boss fights without combat, and so it would be literally like you could sneak hack, stealth your way through the entire game, but then when you got to these certain boss fights, it was like you have to fight, and if you've been putting all your praxis points into like, ways to get around boss fights, then suddenly you're just underpowered for this fight.
They did release a DLC for the game later, not DLC, but like they released a version of the game later where you could do that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a difficult thing because I feel like boss fights. What was the example? Goddamn, there was a game that I played just recently where Spider-Man.
Okay.
I love Spider-Man, but there's a weird disconnect to me between playing Spider-Man and then the boss fights, because the boss fights tend to just be relatively like quick time event heavy, right? Like you're just trying to chisel to a certain point or get the boss in a certain position to do a quick time event. And I think that there's something to be said about how game mechanics are used to create an encounter, like a boss fight encounter. And not to be a cliche of myself, but I think it's one of the reasons that people really like Dark Souls is because you are like, the bosses are very different. They have different kind of things that they do. And a lot of it is learning. Like you have this really kind of titanic encounter with something that's really impressive, and you're having to really learn your way around the boss and how to get at them, as opposed to just hacking them down and then hitting a quick time button. It's one of the reasons why I think that I don't know, God of War had some stuff with quick time events too. I don't know. I feel like a lot of game developers get trapped in this thing where your moment-to-moment combat in the game is different than your boss encounters, and that boss encounters, it's hard to reconcile. Like I don't know. Here's a question, John, for you.
Okay.
In Spider-Man, right?
All right.
Like, would you have been happier if when you fought Electro, if it was just like Electro had like 4 different bars that you had to go through, and you had to just, he had different types of attacks, but that you were going to be using the same kind of punches and kicks and the web gadgets and dodging and kind of going around, but that you had to just keep hitting the punch button enough to chisel down 4 or 5 health bars off of him in order to beat him, as opposed to doing something in the environment and then getting a quick time event, essentially. I don't know. Do you feel like that would be better or worse or the same?
No, I don't think it would be better.
Okay.
I think it'd be less fun.
Okay.
Because those boss fights actually kind of change up the monotony of the fighting system.
Yeah. I guess I just feel like there was some... I wish that there were more ways to...
And also, not all of those boss fights are the same. So while, like they don't all go into a QuickTime event. A lot of them do have QuickTime moments, but not all of them have like a QuickTime event thing.
I'm trying to think of one that I don't know. I guess I felt like they all kind of ended at least with, and then you hit the square and the triangle button and watch the end of this. Right. I don't know. I guess there's a, to me, there's like a meter, right? That's kind of spectacle versus gameplay, right? Is there's no way for you to make the best games fall somewhere in the middle, but like it's going to be hard to ever make a game where the gameplay is going to allow you to do the things that make for a really fantastic end of boss cutscene. And then on the other side, it's like you've got, very or you're very much using the mechanics of the game in order to beat the boss in, like, say, a Dark Souls way. And Spider-Man basically is in the middle of there, but I feel like it leans more towards the QuickTime event side. I guess I feel more satisfied when I am using I feel less satisfied using QuickTime events, even though it's less flashy to do so. But that is just me. I don't know. I mean, like, not that Spider-Man was a bad game or anything. It's just that was one aspect of the game that I was a little bit less impressed with than all the rest of the stuff. But I'm trying to think if there's been another actual QuickTime. Because then, like, I play the Yakuza games, and by the time you get to the end of a Yakuza game, you're so fucking powerful. You got so many stamina X's in your inventory that you're just like, I'm just going to punch this guy, and then I'm going to drink a bunch of stamina X's, and then just go back and punch him more, right? So, I don't know. It's hard. It's a hard balance, but I do like it when developers try weird stuff, because I'm kind of always a fan of when developers try something I've never seen before, when I'm like, what? That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Our next question comes in from Septum Sin versus the World, who says, Dear Rage Select, best wishes to you, Jeff, and John. After the crap that is surrounding Battlefield 5 and the total nightmare that is Star Wars Battlefront 2, does DICE have much longer before EA dissolves them? Though I consider this more of a problem of EA sticking themselves in an area where they shouldn't, but that didn't help with previous studios like Visceral, where EA pretty much ruined the release of Dead Space 3. Do you feel DICE is going to suffer the same fate, or do you feel that they are too good at getting that loot box cash for EA to close them down? Hope you have a wonderful December. Your patron, Septum Sin. You think DICE is going to be on the chopping block?
No. Because I think even with all the controversy, and even with any controversies they've had, they're still making money.
Yeah.
Visceral was very much, let's throw them at the Battlefield game with Battlefield Hardline, and see, to get them to do something else, and that didn't do very well.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, well, get rid of them.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it too, you have to. Simpson, I don't think it automatically comes down to just like performance. I think it also comes down to what EA believes is a good market.
Yeah.
Like that DICE makes first-person online shooters, which, regardless of the sales of Battlefield 5 or the debacle that was Battlefront 2, still tend to be very profitable.
Yeah.
So, like, they loaded up Dead Space 3 with all the microtransaction bullshit, and they did a bunch of weird shit with that. But then I feel like developers have always been like, horror games, they don't make any money. Fuck it. Cancel it, shut it down, do whatever. Cancel PT, shut it down, do whatever. I mean, I keep saying this, but how long has Silent Hill been languishing in obscurity? Like, one of the most popular horror franchises. Hell, like, I find it still to be revolutionary that Resident Evil 7 was so fucking good, considering that I think 5 was a step down from 4, and that 6 was a step down from 5, and that, in between there, what was the Wii Umbrella Chronicles action game and stuff like that. But I think it depends on the type of game that those studios are making. And that, yeah, of course, who knows? I mean, though, EA, I don't think that DICE is on the chopping block now. I do, though, think it's possible that over the next 2 or 3 years that EA might keep making DICE make games that then end up being slightly less and slightly less profitable until the point where they do axe them, because they have done that. I mean, they did that with, was it Harmonix, where they ran them into the ground with Guitar Hero games and then dissolved them? They did that, right?
No, they didn't dissolve Harmonix. Harmonix split. You're thinking of Activision with Guitar Hero.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And Neversoft,
yeah. Oh, and then they made Tony Hawk, right?
Yeah, Activision had them making Tony Hawk, and they took over the Guitar Hero franchise when Harmonix left Activision and got bought by EA, and then they started making
That's what I was thinking of. I don't know. My real question, I tell you what, this actually leads into a question that I've been spun on my mind for a while. What do you think? What do you think that they will? Do you think they'll shutter BioWare if Anthem turns out to be a turd?
It's possible.
And no, let me put it a different way. Do you think that they'll shutter BioWare if Anthem ends up selling quote unquote below expectations? We see that shit all the time.
I don't think it'll happen immediately.
Yeah,
but I think essentially what'll happen is that because they just announced a new Dragon Age game. So what's going to end up happening here is that that could very well be the last BioWare game if Anthem doesn't do well.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's not a world in which Anthem doesn't do well.
You don't think so?
I think it could be critically panned.
Yeah.
I think people could be upset with it in the same way that Mass Effect 3, people were upset with Mass Effect 3, or not 3, but Andromeda.
Yeah.
I totally think that could happen, but there are so many people that are like, well, it's fucking BioWare, and yeah, we understand Andromeda was bad, but that's because they put all of their effort on Anthem, so Anthem's going to be so good.
Right.
So there's too many people who are thinking, it literally, I feel like Anthem is too big to fail.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you,
But if it were to fail, again, we'll still get the Dragon Age game that was announced, and then and then they'll be shuttered.
Let me ask you. I'm not trying to put you on blast or anything, but
put me on blast.
No, but no, what I'm curious though, because I don't know anybody who seems interested in Anthem. Like everybody that I know seems to be like, it looks like Destiny with fucking Iron Man suits.
I agree with you on that.
And I'm like, I've always maintained that there's no reason Destiny with Iron Man suits couldn't be good. However, I didn't just dislike Andromeda. I thought that Inquisition was meh, personally.
Yeah.
I thought the Dragon Age 2 kind of sucked, and I thought that, Mass Effect 3 was okay, but, once you got all the DLC in, it was pretty good. Not as good as 2. I feel like they've been on a downward slope for a while.
Yeah.
And so when you say that, you feel that people are excited about Anthem, I'm just kind of curious where you feel that coming from, because I feel like most of the folks that I talk to are just like, whatever, Destiny.
So I've seen on my Facebook feed,
right,
and in other places, I've seen essentially 2 reactions.
Yeah.
Which neither of those reactions are my reaction, and may not even be your reaction as well. But the 2 predominant reactions I see is, this game is going to be amazing. I'm really excited to play it, and I do see that from a lot of people.
Okay.
And it looks really great, and I can't wait to play it. Then I see the people that are like, meh, looks like Destiny with Iron Man armor. You know, whatever. But I'm still going to play it.
Interesting.
Like, those people who are saying meh, it's like, but I'm still going to buy it when it comes out.
Okay.
Like, I don't see anyone going, fuck that, I'm not buying this when it comes out. They can go fuck themselves. I've seen a few minor people say it.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen. Most of the reactions are either, wow, this looks amazing and I can't wait to play it, I'm totally going to buy it, and wow, this looks kind of meh, but I'm still going to buy it because it's fucking BioWare.
Right. Okay. All right, that makes sense. I mean, that I'm very much not on social media, hardly at all anymore.
No, I do.
But,
and my opinion of it is, it looks kind of meh. It looks like Destiny. I have no interest in Destiny. I have no interest in this.
Right.
I'm not going to buy Anthem.
Well, I guess that's just, when we see it, nothing yet has convinced me that you're not seeing all of the secret code words of well, no, you can play it single player. Sure, you can play it single player if you want to. I mean, that's it's probably better if you have other people. But, all of the caveats that come with a game, is it fun to play MMOs single player? I don't know. I've never done it. I've never been able to stick, World of Warcraft. I know that you can play that by yourself, but the last time I tried, I was just like, wow, this is boring.
Yeah, no, you get bored.
I'd rather play a game that was built to be played as a single player game, not a game that was built to be played as a multiplayer game that you can play single player if you really want to.
Yeah. I don't know.
But then again,
I feel like because it's BioWare and because a lot of people that I just see talking, when you bring up the fact that like there's actually a lot of people who did like Inquisition.
Yeah.
Like I actually know a lot of people who loved Inquisition.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
For Dragon Age. But then when you see Andromeda, they're like, well, Andromeda, you read all the, it's like, oh no, you read all the articles about why it ended up being bad. And I kind of understand it, and I'm a little pissed off about that. But clearly they put all of their B team on Anthem, so that just means Anthem's going to be like that much better.
Right. Or
like
their A team on Anthem.
Everything is on, they even put like their A team, their B team, their C team, and even pulled off their D team off of Andromeda to put on Anthem.
Right.
Like that's kind of the way the reports went and the way the public perceives it. They're like, well, clearly this is going to be the game that delivers the BioWare experience that I come to love.
Right.
That I loved in all the Mass Effect games, with the exception of the ending of 3, and loved, with Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age 3.
Okay.
I just feel like there's too many people out there who are, I'm a fanboy. Like, it's kind of the same way I'm a fanboy for Remedy. Like, I will buy anything Remedy puts out. I don't care if it looks like crap. I'll buy it. I bought a mobile game that was just cars driving in a circle. Like, fucking... Like, I bought a mobile game because it had Remedy's name on it.
Okay.
I am a fanboy of Remedy. I recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
They have carte blanche to release whatever. Just kind of like Double Fine has carte blanche with Amanda. She'll buy whatever they put out.
Sure. Nobody liked that for Jeff. Certainly.
Yeah, but it's just like it doesn't matter, so there are a lot of people who not only there's a lot of people who think it looks good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who want it to be good.
Okay.
And are willing to give them the money just in the hopes that it is.
Okay.
And I feel like there's a part of me that feels like it's too big to fail, meaning that there's too much hype and too many people will buy it regardless. Like it could literally be press embargoed before release date and
just trash.
And then someone gets kind of like what happened with Andromeda, press embargoed before release date. However, somebody got an early copy and starts putting out videos online right before it comes out about how garbage it is. And then goes from there.
Yeah.
Like it could totally be that same situation, and I still think people will buy it because they desperately want it to be good and desperately want it to be this game that I don't think it's going to end up being.
Do you think that but then so then if it turns out to be garbage, do you think that then BioWare gets one more chance after that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Know.
I guess it depends on how bad it ends up being.
Yeah.
But
because I feel like, in all honesty, I feel like BioWare is kind of the same position as DICE.
Yeah.
Where it's, DICE is never going to not be making a Battlefield game.
Yeah.
They're always going to be making a Battlefield game.
Yeah.
Forever. That I don't feel like they will ever shutter DICE off because they're going to want DICE to make a Battlefield game.
Right.
Like, sure, they may every now and then test the waters with a new studio making a Battlefield game, much like they did with Visceral, but they'll never...
Oh, yeah, but even then, Visceral only made the single player.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, DICE was still heavily involved with the multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of the same thing, is that they want BioWare to be there to make their sci-fi, grand sci-fi space operas and their fantasy games, like their hardcore fantasy operas.
Okay.
They want that, and that's who BioWare is. And could they shut it all down? Yes, they could. I fully admit I could be wrong. I just don't think they will. This would be like, while they're not this anymore, but there was a brief period of time where I actually felt like BioWare was to EA as Blizzard was to Activision.
Okay.
Having said that, now that's not the case.
Right.
BioWare is they're kind of gone down a little bit, and Blizzard has kind of become bigger than Activision, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like they could literally separate off into their own, separate from Activision.
It's like Blizzard could be their own company.
Yeah. Like I don't think Blizzard will ever shut down or whatever kind of thing. But BioWare, it could happen, but I don't see it happening.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's see. We have two questions here that kind of I feel like run together. So I'm going to read both questions and then we can answer both of them. Let's see. Marcus writes in and says, "Hello, Jeff and John. Name a film that changed your daily habits for the better. For me, after watching Ingrid Goes West, I no longer have any social media accounts on my phone, as that film displayed a dark, destructive side of social media when it controls and ruins your life if used too much. I have more time in my life to play video games, socialize, be more productive at work. Keep raging on and all hail the dong. Marcus, P.S. I just played my very first GTA game ever this year, GTA 5, and this game is incredible! And then Will writes in and says, hello, Jeff and John. I just played the game Oxenfree for the first time. I went into it knowing nothing other than that it was a well-regarded indie game. Because of this, I did not realize that the main theme of the game is dealing with death. As my mother passed away almost exactly 2 years ago, this was very much on my mind when I played the game. Because of this, I felt I really connected emotionally with the story and the characters who had to face this. Overall, I really enjoyed the game, and I can see why it is so well thought of, but it also hit me emotionally in a way that I was not expecting. What are some of your most memorable moments in video games that dealt you a real emotional gut punch? Thanks from Will. Not exactly the same question for both of them, but I feel like it kind of goes to like movies and games that, like, you know, really affected you, really kind of got in there, meh. I mean, specifically to the idea of, like, movies that changed my daily habits. I don't know that one exists.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Of course, Igor Goes West is a really interesting movie, though. You should totally watch it. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
but, like,
no, it's a crazy movie. But, yeah, I can't think of... I mean... Yeah, I can't think of a movie that's changed my habits.
Well, but let's think about...
I mean, there's been movies that have impacted, like, my taste in music and things like that. But nothing that has, like, affected my daily habits in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about just, like, emotional gut punch movies? I mean, I know that there's a lot out there. You know, I had a lot of friends who...
Frequency?
Yeah. Wait, the game Frequency?
No, the movie.
Oh, what is that movie?
It's got Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel. They tried to turn it into a TV series on the CW and gender swapped the main character, Jim Caviezel's character, for the TV show. So it's essentially about a guy who's a cop and an astral event that causes an aurora borealis to happen above New York or whatever.
Okay.
And when he does this, he's playing on his dad's old like CB radio kind of thing.
Okay.
And ends up talking to his dad in the past. And
okay, that's what I thought that was what that was. Yeah.
That kind of had a very because my dad died when I was young.
Yeah.
His dad died when he was young. Like,
okay.
It's kind of one of those things where it really hit me.
Okay.
You know, if you want to talk about games that give you the emotional gut punch, which was the second question.
Right.
Spider-Man.
Oh.
I think I've talked about this.
Oh, man, yeah.
Because my grandmother passed away literally 3 days before I beat the game.
Yeah.
Like, literally, my grandmother passed away. I was trying to just do something to take my mind off of it. And when I think of the character...
talk around it. You can talk around it. You can talk around it. There's some death in that game.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. It. When I literally got to that point in the game, I literally threw down the controller and started bawling.
Yeah.
Like, literally just walked out of the room. Like, I could not deal with it.
Have you played the DLC? Did you end up?
I played the first
back?
one.
Okay.
I played the first one. I have not gone back to play the second one because I've been too busy playing Red Dead and Soul Calibur 6. And
no, I was wondering if that emotion had kept you away from the game.
No. Because the web swinging is just too good. Web swinging and the combat system in that game is just too good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No. But I don't know if I could play. Like, I've been avoiding New Game Plus because I don't want to know. I don't know if I can go through that ending again.
Right. Yeah, I gotcha.
But yeah, no. I'm trying to think if there's another game that, like, really.
The most emotional I've ever been. It's weird because I'm trying to think. Like, there's some late parts in, like, Red Dead. Oh hell, Rockstar is actually really good at this, and I feel like they never get enough credit for it.
Yeah.
Like, the end of Red Dead 1 was very emotional. The ending of GTA 4, which I always feel like everybody forgets about that. The GTA 4 asks who your favorite character is and then murders them.
Yeah.
It basically asks you to choose between the lady and then your cousin, and then whoever you're like, I like them, and it's like, bang bang, they're dead. There's a lot of stuff. I think that probably I don't get quite as choked up with games as I do with movies. I think
the only other movie that really affected me that of recent memory was the first Guardians of the Galaxy, the very beginning of it.
Oh, okay.
With the mother dying.
Yeah.
Because again, my mom also died of cancer. So like these are things that
boy, it's just a minefield for you in popular culture, John.
yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that literally, I was crying in the theater at the very beginning of that movie.
Okay. I was gonna say, I mean, like Up really affected me.
No, that one's very
but badly because like I have a friend who saw that right around the time that he had a loved one pass away, and so it connected him quite a bit to that movie because he felt like the themes of loss and whatnot in that movie like resonated with him.
Yes.
I did not lose any loved ones, but they used that fucking Disney tragedy to turn your screws on you at the very beginning of that movie, and it made me so fucking sad that I couldn't enjoy any more of that movie. I was just sad. It made me super sad, and then the movie started, and I was like, no movie, I'm still sad. And every time they showed that the main guy, I don't know, I only watched it once in the theater. Every time they showed that main guy, I'm like, I don't want to look at him. He's too sad. Oh, you're having an adventure? I don't care. It's sad. It's all sad. It's too sad. So that movie affected me. I think that probably one of the most emotionally affecting movies that I've ever seen, and I've talked about this before. I don't know why this was. Like, not a lot of games hit me at just the right, or not a lot of movies hit me at just the right place, just the right time. But Clerks 2 did. It hit me in my early 30s when my friend group from my 20s was breaking apart.
Yeah.
And it really affected me. And it actually, like, I didn't used to, so this is a weird sojourn, but like I used to go out with my roommate and drink on the weekends.
Yeah.
But it was always like we went downtown, we went to 6th Street and we would party, right? After I saw Clerks 2, I emailed all my friends and I basically said like, hey guys, every Friday night I'm going to this one particular bar that's in Central Austin. It's near where everybody is. And I'm just going to be there from 9 until the place closes. And if you ever want to see me, that's where I'll be because I think that it's good to keep in touch with people. And I think it's a good place to like be. And so, I ended up going there all the time and hanging out with my friends. Eventually that bar shut down and we never really found a replacement. And then some of my friends moved away. But like when Clerks 2 came out, that theme of like drifting apart from childhood friends was really, really strong. As far as games go, I feel like I've talked about this a bunch of times before as well, but the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 is Old Snake and Ocelot like fighting as they're dying on top of this submarine, and they're just like locked in this battle that's been going on for like ever, it seems. And it's interesting because they're so tired and wrought, and when you get to the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, I feel like it's been because like I've been playing Metal Gear games since I was a kid. Yeah. And like when I got to the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, it was like, this is the fucking end of a story that started when I was like 12 years old. And now I'm like 30 and like seeing the protagonist from that game, like slugging it out with this guy in the final act of the final game of that series. Of course, then they made 5, right? But, but it was really affecting to me because of the way that, especially because that last boss fight, you do like it through 4 phases, and each phase is a recreation of the boss fights from Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and then the final one that doesn't have any bars. And so they played the music from those boss fights for each one of them. So it's like revisiting the stuff over the years. Oh man, that was a heady one.
Yeah, I know there was some indie PC game that literally I started playing it. And there was, I can't remember the name of it. I can't even remember, like I can't even describe it because it's one of those things where I was playing it, I was enjoying it, and then I just got to a specific point where I was just like, nope, turned it off, uninstalled it, walked out of the room, never played the game again, don't even remember the title of it.
Huh.
Like I'm sitting here this entire time. No. And it was like because it was trying to play at your heartstrings. It was trying to hit those emotional moments, and I was just like, nope, I'm not prepared for this.
Yeah.
Can't remember what the fuck it was.
I tell you what, man, it's to my great dismay though that I'll tell you that like, man, I get choked up at movies all the fucking time. Like, it does not take much for a movie. In fact, that's why Up was so affecting to me, is because I am very susceptible to movie schmaltz, to sentimentality and stuff like that. Like, I'm always just like, oh, it's me.
Yeah, things that that always I would hit me. child dealing with parents that are dying of cancer.
Yep.
Anything kind of that. This is why I think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 also pulled at it a little bit, because it's that whole not having your father there,
right?
Kind of that. I mean, my dad was there until I was like 9, so I know who my dad was.
Sure,
but like that kind of.
Also, he didn't turn out to be a space god.
Yeah, that too. But that kind of that dealing with your father, and also the death of your father at a young age,
right?
Kind of deals. Also, animals, dogs specifically, like movies with dogs where the dog dies or something like that. That fucking
we call that the Brian Salisbury.
Yeah. That's no, I can't deal with that either.
So, what are your feelings about John Wick?
Oh no, I love John Wick because that's a revenge movie,
right?
And it's like the most understandable revenge, because if someone broke into my house, beat me up, and killed my dog, I would
puppy no less
that my dead wife gave me.
Right.
I would raise the entire city. Like there would be no one alive, and no one would have the chance to get out.
All right. Well, give me a call. Let me leave. I didn't do anything to your dog.
No, I'm just saying, like, unless you're part of that, if you're not part of that mob gang, whatever you want to fucking call it, that did it, you're safe.
Right.
But if you're part of that group, you're dead.
John's it's coming for you, man. It's going to give it to you. Well, let's move on to another question. This is a question that I've actually kind of been interested in talking about, but hasn't been sent in. It was just sent in as we were recording.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
And this is a weird one, so we'll veer.
Weird it up. Let's get weird.
Let's get weird
Make it
in
weird,
here,
man.
Or not weird. It's just this is a touchy subject that I've noticed the fringe of, but I've never talked about on the show.
You're touching the fringes.
Touch that fringe.
That's kind of weird, man.
All right, this one comes in from I'm going to call you E, because they didn't sign a name. E says, "Hello, Jeff and Deliciously Evil John. I'm curious to know your opinion of Sony's new policy aimed at curbing sexual themes in games like Senran Kagura and Dead or Alive by censoring certain aspects of each game. Personally, not very invested in these games, but I wouldn't want to see the policy evolve further and affect games that partially contain these themes, games like Yakuza or Catherine. There also seems to be the assumption that the policy is linked to PlayStation headquarters' move to the U.S. and is a desire to turn away from more niche Japanese titles. What are your thoughts on this policy? Do you think it will discourage developers from releasing their games on PlayStation?" So I don't know if you've noticed. I don't know if you know much about this.
I don't.
Okay, so the Booby Ninja games and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, so they're remaking the first Senran Kagura and they're putting it out on the PlayStation but they're removing, like, there was a, how in those games there'll be a thing where it's like, you've got to give a massage by moving the cursor around and then pressing the button to, like, grab on different parts of this lady. And then there's all these jiggle physics and stuff going on. And she's like, ooh. Well, that's gone. Like, that's out of that game.
Okay.
There's even another one recently where they released, it was like a visual novel that had a bunch of sex junk in it. And they did a really weird thing where, I don't remember the name of it, or I'd pull it up, where, like, instead of, like, putting, like, sensor bars over stuff, they put these really heavy beams of light that, like, came through the frame and would cover, like, the boobs and the junk of characters.
Okay.
And so it made for really weird things. And then on the, I think that was on the Switch, and it might have also been on the PC. And on the Switch, it was just, like, sexy. And then on the PC, it was, like, nude. And then on the PS4, it was, like, weird bars of light going across people's junk and stuff.
Okay.
So recently, and also there was another game. I think there was another game. If I'm not, I'm sorry, I'm doing all this off memory. If I remember correctly, where it was like another one of these kind of like sexy, niche fan service games that was literally not going to be released on the PlayStation 4, where it was like the previous game that company made had been released on the PS4, but this one was just like straight up not going to be released on the PS4. And basically what it's led to is people have noticed that there's a trend here of Sony kind of being like, well, it seems like they don't really want these titles on their platform anymore. Or if they do, they want them to be heavily censored. And that the people that are fans of those titles obviously want them to be on these consoles, right? And do not want them to be censored. So I don't know. Let me first say that I don't think that I don't think that this quote unquote, or no, not even quote unquote, I don't think that this level of like censorship / keeping sexually themed content off of the console is going to end up bleeding into games like Yakuza or Catherine. I think that I haven't seen any examples outside of maybe, I don't know. This is so weird to talk about because like fan service is different than like, Catherine is a game about romance and sex, right?
Yeah.
So like taking the romance or the sex out of Catherine, and it's not like Catherine was a very explicit.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a hentai game.
Yeah.
It was
there was
just
no like nudity.
there was just a lot of like.
I mean, straight up nudity.
Right.
I mean, there was stuff where like people may have not been wearing clothes, but their junk was covered.
Right.
You know.
Or like Yakuza. I mean, there's like the maid cafe stuff in there, but even the maid cafe stuff is a little strange. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because here's my counterpoint, and I thoroughly encourage anybody who disagrees with this to come into the comment section and talk to me about it, okay? I don't think that these types of games, I don't think that games that happen to have sex in them, as opposed to games which are based mostly around sex, which I do feel that like Galgun and Senran Kagura and like Criminal Girls and all these different franchises that Amanda and I have ended up playing over the years, I do not think that those games that they are primarily titillating sex games, and they happen to have some of their gameplay separate. Like Senran Kagura is not an especially good action game. It is a functional action game, but it is not like nobody's playing Senran Kagura just for the action. Nobody's like, I play Senran Kagura because the action and the combat system in this game is supreme. But my counterpoint, and I don't find a way around this, is that if you look at Steam and you look at what's happened with Steam being pretty much okay with like visual novels, and now Steam being okay with like just straight up fucking porn games, like that shit is everywhere. That shit is everywhere on their service. And I wonder if for Sony it isn't a question of one or two of these maybe are interesting, but then that Sony may not want there to be a thing where you open up the PlayStation Store and every week there's another fucking titty ninja game on there, because they maybe don't want to be known for having those games on their service. Yeah. Because like it or not, whether I know that people who like this stuff, and I'm not saying that I don't like it, or I'm not even saying that I'm against it, but like it or not, you have to understand that like there is a stigma against this sort of content. Yeah. Americans are all fucked up about sex and we don't like it, and it's all gasp, clutch at the pearls, right? And like if you buy your kid a PlayStation 4 and then they can go online with their credit card and buy Senran Kagura, and then like you come in and the fucking and right, that is not the fault of Sony or the developer, but it is still perceived as the fault by the idiot parents who walk away and don't take any care of their children, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that stuff is going to end up going back into games. Like I don't think that you're not going to have sex in a game that has sex as a component to it, but fan service is weirdly different than Catherine. Catherine and Senran Kagura are different games.
Yeah, they're not the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, technically they're both video games, but like Catherine uses sexuality to advance the plot of the game, right? Like you'd have a better argument maybe on Yakuza because of the way that the hostess cafes are kind of just, I don't know. But see, then again, hostess cafes are a thing in Japan, right? So if you're trying to make this game that is about life in Japan and you decide that you want, it'd be like if there was a strip club, or like GTA 5, there's one of the hideouts for Trevor is a strip club. Like there's strip clubs in GTA 5, and they don't seem like they're pandering because you've got this big LA world that would probably have a strip club in it. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this? Like anything?
No. I'm
This is very divorced from this whole topic.
No, if Sony wants to censor, my whole thought is if Sony wants to censor that type of stuff, they're going to censor it.
Yeah.
There's not anything you, I, or they can do, anybody else can do about it.
Right.
Is if they were to censor all these things, and would that mean that people would stop sales of the PS4? No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The people who buy those games, while they are there, they are not as many as all the people who don't buy those games who still own the consoles.
Right.
So them doing this is not going to hurt their budget, their dollar.
I would be
dollar.
fascinated to see sales figures on like a Senran Kagura game.
Yeah.
Because I bet that while it may be some amount of money, that you hit the nail right on the head. It's not Spider-Man money. It's not God of War money. It's not Red Dead money. It's not the things that Sony is moving consoles with money.
Yeah. And, so I don't think it's... Yeah. And like you said, okay, here's the thing. I am not a parent.
Right.
I am not someone who has to worry about a child getting on my console and going onto the store and buying a bunch of booby games.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When I open up that store, I don't want to fucking see a bunch of booby games on my screen. It's why I don't look at Steam anymore. I don't open Steam. I don't play games on Steam ever again because I don't want to open up my fucking Steam window and see a bunch of booby fucking games.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I don't care to see that stuff. I don't want my store to be filled with it. I want to open the store and be able to find the games that I want to play.
Right.
And if that means that Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft is actually curating and saying, hey, we don't want these on the store.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I understand that may piss some people off, and I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's... well, and then the other thing is that it's not exactly like there's nowhere to get this shit anymore. I mean, the last Senran Kagura game was a dating simulator that literally came out on the fucking Switch.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that same visual novel, like, hey, man, if Sony, like, censors all their shit, maybe you gotta get a Switch. Maybe you gotta get a PC. These games aren't exactly, like, top-of-the-line... fucking Red Dead 2 on the PC, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and again, I want to stress that I'm not saying those games shouldn't exist.
right.
I'm fine with it. They're on PC. That's great. Whatever. They're filling up the Steam store. That they can have that. Whatever. That's fine if that's where you want to get it, or whatever. I just don't want to see it on my. I don't want to see it on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. That's not the games I want to play.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair enough. I don't know. It also, I guess it's just, again, I can't say how much it seems like I've gotten to watch on Steam over the years, the number of visual novels, explicit visual novels, and now just like straight up weird porno stuff, like, grow exponentially. And it seems like once the gates are opened a little bit, that any way that the people that are, because I'm sure that they sell very well. I'm sure that they're a lot easier to make than having to tune the systems and make up some big AAA game. If you just throw a bunch of tit ninjas in there, and then they're all laughing and jumping up and down, and everybody's like, "Yay, I love it! Take my $30, please." I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. But I honestly don't feel like. Again, a lot of this comes back to me, and there's not much more I can say about this. There's not a lot. This is not something that I can argue about because it's just my personal opinion. But much like you, if you got to a point where the sex got taken out of Yakuza or Catherine, not Catherine because Catherine's about that. Like, if you didn't take the sex out of Catherine, don't release Catherine, right? But like, if you took the hostess bars out of Yakuza, I know a lot of people care about that. And look, bro, if you ask me, check one, yes or no. If they could be in the game, great. But I don't care. If they took all the hostess clubs and the dating sim out of Yakuza, I wouldn't give a shit because I'm into Yakuza for punching dudes and having a Yakuza storyline, right? Like, I'm not in it for dressing up. In fact, I find the Maid Cafe stuff to be really, because that was the primary way in Yakuza 0 that you earned money with Majima. And I found I didn't like playing it. Like, but that was the way that you got money, and money was how you did upgrades.
Yeah.
So if you took that out of the game, fine. I don't even fucking think Mass Effect or Dragon Age needs sex scenes. Like, they're never really sexy, and I think it would be just as easy to show two people being connected without having to have them fucking take their clothes off and smash their dumb, weird CGI doll heads together and make it look weird. Like, I don't know. Sex in games is a whole other topic, and for the most part, I don't really have a big need to have sex in my video games. I don't know. Other people may feel different. Anyway, let's finish up with one more question. This one's more for me, but if you've got, I would like to open the floor to you by altering the question a little bit, just like Darth Vader, John. Kate writes in and says, "Dear best video game website ever. I love The Expanse. Holy shit, what a great sci-fi series. My questions are: have you read The Expanse books, and if so, did you like them? And what books are you currently reading, and how do you enjoy them?" Your loyal patron, Kate. So I thought I would also throw this out because I know that a lot of people out there read the books that are also comics, right? And so do you, John.
Yeah, I read comics.
Okay. Have you read any
Books.
good comics recently?
Yeah, of course.
What do you got?
I'm trying to think here. What's really good? There's actually a first issue of a book that just came out that I actually think you might even like.
Really? Ooh.
It's called Die, D-I-E.
Okay.
As in rolling dice, like dice, like die, like a singular die.
Okay.
And it's kind of, you know how in the, and I'm going to explain it the way the creator kind of explained it, is you know how in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, how these kids got sucked into this fantasy world, and then they at the end of the series they never filmed the last episode, but they wrote the script for it, and at the end of it they get back home or whatever.
Right.
You know, the idea is like, well, what happened to them when they went back home? Mm-hmm. So this kind of starts off with a bunch of kids create a dice game and play it, and when they start playing it, they disappear.
Okay.
Then a year passes, or 2 years pass, and 5 of the 6 kids show up. Mm-hmm. One of them is missing an arm, and clearly some shit has happened, but none of them will say what happened.
Okay.
Then it skips ahead 40 or 20 years or something like that, and they're now in their all mid-40s or whatever.
Goodness gracious.
And the game reappears in their life, and they then get basically sucked back into the game.
Okay.
To deal with the thing that they didn't deal with.
Oh wow.
He also refers it to as a goth Jumanji.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Like
when you were talking about that. Yeah.
So it's what's really cool is the creator of this has actually created a actual like tabletop role playing version of this game for people to actually play in real life.
Okay.
But that's not going to come out until after the 5th issue. But it's really, really good.
Okay.
Like this is the guy who made this also has made another really popular book called Wicked and Divine.
Okay.
Which was basically kind of like dealt with like gods and devils. Kind of very American Gods-ish in a little way, but like more hipster and music based.
Okay.
But he wrote Wicked and Divine. He also wrote a book called Phonogram, which was like if magic was real, but it was all related to music.
Okay.
Like music was actual magic.
That's cool. I like that. I like that idea.
It's really good. But yeah, Die is phenomenal. Another book that I'm really big on is Murder Falcon.
That sounds great.
And
Murder Falcon.
This is everything. So the idea of this one is it's the main character is a guitar player of a band that is broken up, and like he's kind of in the dumps, down, you know, kind of depressed. He hasn't played music in years, and the world gets attacked by monsters from another dimension.
Nice.
And it's people are dying. They don't know where the monsters are coming from. They're attacking everything, and he's just kind of living his life. And then one day, Murder Falcon shows up.
Who's Murder Falcon?
A giant fucking falcon person who gets powered by metal. So he has this guy play his metal music from his metal band to make him powerful to fight the monsters.
Murder Falcon.
Murder Falcon.
Murder Falcon.
There's 2 issues of it out so far. It's so good.
What does it look like? I want to type Murder Falcon.
Oh, it looks like every cover of the issue looks like a fucking metal album cover.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And it's great, and it's the entire thing is about him kind of realizing he has to go to bring the band back. And the other great thing is that the guy who's writing and drawing this is actually has a band that is also releasing a track by the fictional band for each issue that comes out.
Nice.
And it's fucking
I like
awesome.
the art. I like the art.
Yeah, no, I love the whole thing. Murder Falcon is fucking awesome.
All right. Murder Falcon. That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, Murder Falcon, Die, and is there another book that's been really good that's coming out?
Fucking Murder Falcon.
Probably. I've been mostly reading like new Fantastic Four book is pretty good.
Okay.
But that's pretty standard. I've also been reading Power Rangers a lot because that book has been amazing. Can't really think of any other books that I've just been like totally like. The new Green Lantern is like really crazy.
Yeah.
It's Grant Morrison. Writing Green Lantern.
Woo!
As a procedural police cop drama.
Yay! I want to read it. I want to read it.
It's got like the artist who does it. His art style is very much like French heavy metal magazine style art.
Okay.
And it's trippy.
That's
good though.
Great.
It's good though.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I will talk about first of all The Expanse. I love The Expanse. That was, I think, one of the book series that's kind of got me back into reading.
Have not read The Expanse, nor have I watched the series.
I tried watching a little bit of the series, and it was too slick, and everybody was too pretty.
Okay.
Like the main character, I always felt like should be older than the guy who plays him in the series.
Okay.
Which is weird. The problem with The Expanse is that The Expanse is a very convoluted universe, and so I binged the first like 3 or 4 Expanse books. And now when they come out, it's always like 1 or 2 a year. And by the time I go back and read them, I'm like, oh, I've forgotten everything that happened, because it started to get in like book 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever one they're on right now, like the politics involved with the people in the universe have become so fucking convoluted that I'm like, what even happened in the last book? Who controls what thing? And I have this problem when I read a bunch of different sci-fi series where when I come back to one of them after I've been gone for like 8 or 9 months because I've been binge reading a different series. I've forgotten. In fact, there are 2 series that I really liked that got really close. They have somewhat similar plot lines. And when I'm reading, I'll be reading the new book in one and I'll be like, didn't that guy die last time? And I'm like, no, that's from the other franchise. Because, they all have the same fucking Captain Astro Dick names. And like, what I will say though is that that I've been waiting for a while now for the last book in the Honor Harrington series called Uncompromising Honor to come out. I highly, highly recommend the Honor Harrington series. There are like 14 books in that series, and there are 1 billion spinoffs, and I have not even started to go into those. And it's all about this lady spaceship captain named Honor Harrington, and she's flying around doing stuff, and boy, is it great. And not only that, but like they will introduce characters who have a minor arc in this story who then end up being like the secondary protagonist in book 5, and like you get to know these characters that kind of flow in and out of the series. And so it starts to become a thing where when one of them gets in trouble in book 6 and you're just like, oh no, don't kill him. I love that guy. I don't want him to die. And then he doesn't. You're like, but no, it's a really interesting series, and I really like it. And as of Uncompromising Honor, the series itself isn't over, but that character's arc is kind of done. So you can read all the way from like book 1 to book 14 or whatever. The current crack that I'm on though is called Expeditionary Force. And it's basically about a guy who it's all written in first person, but it's like the Earth is invaded by these hamster guys, and there's this like ex-Marine guy, and he fights them, and then the hamster guys leave, and these lizards come down, and they're like, hey, we saw you guys got invaded. Come work for us. Come be our troops, and we'll help you. We'll keep you safe. And it turns out that they're lying, and that they're mean, and they're bastards. And then the main character finds this. It's like a beer can that's got an AI that's been alive for millions of years. No,
not Bob.
That's a different one.
That's
the Bobverse is a different one where the guy uploads his consciousness.
No, I'm thinking of a different. I know what you're talking about, though.
Okay. But this one, the beer can, they said it looks like a beer can. It's called Skippy.
Skippy, yeah. Skippy, that's right.
And
my brother was telling me about this book series.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah.
Because the main character and the AI end up being best friends, and they're both assholes to each other all the time. It's a little repetitive in the joke department, but I like the way that this is book 4 or 5 that I'm on right now, and so far it's just like everything that these people do kind of gets them into a worse and worse position. So it's like they're always kind of there's no grand victory at the end of any of these books, or at least it doesn't feel that way. But yeah, I really like that. And then I don't know if you want some schlock, like there's a guy named B.B. Larson who's written a bunch of different book series is, but the one they just put out, one called Stormworld. I've talked about this one before on the show, where it's the Undying Mercenaries series, where it's like in the future and human beings go out and they're basically just like good soldiers in the universe. But the big trick with this is that everybody's got a computer built into them now. And when you die, it just uploads all your shit back to a main computer, and they just print out a new copy of you. They literally like 3D print a new person, and then they just like put a gun in your hand and shove you back out to fight more. And that's kind of the basics of it. But it's interesting because death means less in this world than it does in, other books, other universes, other whatever. So I don't know. I think that one's kind of interesting as well. But definitely Honor Harrington has been one of the best. Just one of the best book franchises that I've read in a long time. And they just go on and on and on and on. There's all this politics and romance and intrigue and like backstabbing. And there's been a regime change in this part of the universe. And like, oh, that guy that was in book 3 is shown back up in book 7, but now he's evil. And like, oh, fuck, there's a whole other guy over here that we didn't even know about. Like, there's a lot of it. And then like he wrote like book 1 through 12 and then wrote something like 25 or 30 spin-off books from the franchise and then wrote the 13th book. So I like it. I think it's good. Oh, I should probably say the name of the person who wrote it though, since just searching for it. It's David Weber, Weber.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to wrap it up. It's the end of the podcast. John, I don't know if we're going to have any more podcasts in 2018. So good 2018 to you?
Sure.
Mail@ragelight.com is the email address. And John, you have your own podcast.
I do. I sometimes talk about comics and do a lot of times talk about movies.
Yeah.
Lately, that seems to be the thing we've been talking about lately. But it's originally envisioned as a comics podcast. Weird how that works out. Geek Bombast.
There you go.
You can search for it on any like podcast place that you go to, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, any of those places. You just do a search for Geek Bombast, you'll probably find it. For YouTube, if you just go to like bit.ly/Geek Bombast,
oh yeah,
that'll take you directly to the YouTube page. Thank you to Jeff for setting that up for me.
It was easy.
Yeah. Yeah, we're Facebook, Twitter, facebook.com/Geek Bombast, Twitter @ Geek Bombast, stuff like that. Like it's a lot of fun. It's me, Amanda, sometimes Michael, my other two co-hosts, Rod Dunley and Nick Budd, though, they kind of swap out, kind of the way you do here.
Okay.
They kind of swap out because we're all older now and we don't really all have the time.
Yeah.
We just can't do it every week. It's mostly been me and Amanda on episodes, and then every now and then other people show up.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's pretty good. We're probably got one more episode that we need to record and get out, and then we'll go on a 2-week break, and then we'll come back as well. So
right on. Check it out, y'all, and sending your questions to mail@ragelight.com. And that's it for this week, and we'll see you next week. And my voice is going